How did you even say first, Matt? I wasn't even live. Crazy. Hey, Doug. Welcome. So fast. Welcome, folks. Welcome in. Welcome in. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see everybody. Salute! Salud! What up? Hey, Bia. Salam, Scary. I love when you play dubstep. Hey, Michael. Come on in, everyone. We've got I didn't even know what to make the title today. Honestly, there's so much to talk about, so I'm just not gonna do like a full-on title.
Thank you, friends.
Hey, Kelez. Welcome.
Thank you, friends.
The lesson continues, chat. Prepare for a lecture. Hey, Scars. I'm not going to lecture you. I'm not going to lecture you. You're a grown-up. Be a grown-up. Look after yourself.
They don't know what the they're doing.
Just look after yourself, damn it.
Reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay. Hey, Omar from San Francisco. Nice.
Hi. Oh, it's a movie now. Enjoy the movie, my love.
Okay. I found an interview of someone telling us why Morocco happened. Facebook ads. Oh my gosh. Nah, Noisy, I grew up without a father. We need a talking to. Missed so much information. Let's go. Just Kia ora, 8-bit supercomputer. Kia ora. I just watched a debate on Piers Morgan, Morandi versus Dersh. Yeah. Cooked the Epstein lawyer so bad. Yeah, I saw that. It was pretty crazy. The Dersh is such a... Yeah, he's just a terrible character, isn't he? Such a terrible character. Yeah, that was enjoyable to watch. Yeah. That's the kind of thing you put on and just enjoy. The dish getting absolutely cooked. Beautiful. All right, everyone, come on in. We're going to start off today with some breaking news from Kashmir, Pakistan-administered Kashmir. We're going to start off with some breaking news on that, and then we're going to head into some AI-related news. We're going to talk about FIFA, Infantino got his Infantino was grabbed by the Hormuzi.
Reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
The world grabbed Infantino by the Hormuzi.
Reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
And of course, infinitely yours. And yeah, it's quite a crazy time. There's so much happening. I just don't know what should be the focus. Everything should be the focus. What an afternoon it's been, yeah. Is Johnny Football gonna be a good little boy?
I want to be a good boy.
He might lose his job. We'll see. He might lose his job. I hope he loses his job. But let's see. Okay, let's begin with what's happening in Kashmir.
Thousands of people have gathered at a market here in Islamabad to show solidarity with the people of Kashmir, who of course have been protesting for their rights. The rally is being led by a former senator, Mushtaq Ahmed. He was also on the Gaza flotilla and arrested by the Israeli
Netanyahu versus Jit. You think I would destroy that man's like physical structure. I've got a lot of untapped potential when it comes to
security forces and tortured. But he has raised his voice not just for the people of Palestine, but also for the people of Kashmir. I'm here in Islamabad. People have gathered.
I haven't been in a fight for like, let's say 5 years. But bro, trust me, it's like riding a bicycle.
Includes
If I was in front of Netanyahu, it'd be like riding a bicycle.
women, family members, students, people from the community, as well as the Kashmiris who are living in Islamabad and Rawalpindi. They have made a strong demand that there should be a peaceful end to the crisis that is happening inside Pakistani-administered Kashmir.
All the Pakistani people are sympathetic, and they know in reality they're not against Pakistan or the Pakistan army. We don't know who has hatched this conspiracy. The sooner it ends, the better. We are Pakistani first, then Kashmiri.
The leader of the rally, Mushtaq Ahmed, has also announced that within the next 2 days he will be leading a huge convoy of relief goods as well as ambulances for those people who have been under siege in Rawalakot and other parts of the Pakistani-administered Kashmir. So it will be important to see what kind of momentum this gains. And he's made a passionate call for people from all walks of life to stand up for justice and justice for the people of Kashmir.
This is such a beautiful thing, guys. This is such a beautiful thing. The people of Kashmir deserve freedom. They've been under blockade, under military rule for so long. I think it's one of those areas, like liberation is so key. The West Bank, like Palestine is militarized like crazy, right? And you wouldn't believe this, but the most militarized area in the world is India-administered Kashmir. It's like the most militarized place in the world. And you have to understand, these people are watched constantly. They are under strict rules. It's no life to live like that. And it's just, yeah, man. Kashmir just needs to be like completely liberated. It deserves it. Those people are, incredible human beings. But remember, guys, Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, there are 3 countries vying for control. It's India, Pakistan, and China as well. But the Kashmir we're talking about, the Kashmir that people say, free Kashmir, that's split into 2.
How much? 17 of 74? That's a pretty cool track, bro. Come here, give me a kiss before you go. Aaron, I need a kiss before you go.
It's gonna take him dinner time.
Okay. I'll see you later, and then we'll go see Gingy, okay? Love ya. Have fun.
Yeah. So, like, this is Kashmir. Kashmir is such a the parallels to Palestine in Kashmir. It's very. It's a little. There are more players, obviously, involved. With Palestine, it's settler colonialism, European settler colonialism, whereas for Kashmir, there's settler colonialism. There's blockade. There's military rule. There's apartheid. There's so much. There's so much, and there's multiple players. These people are constantly watched and constantly monitored by 3 countries. So, yeah, let's hope that this eases. But here's some context for all of you.
At least 20.
Kashmir is just a pawn for India and Pakistan and China. Don't forget, Bloodhound. China's thereabouts as well. This is 3 different countries vying. Obviously, the main one is the line of control and India and Pakistan, but China's in there too. So it's a crazy situation for those people.
People have been killed in
T-minus.
Pakistan-administered Kashmir after security forces fired guns and tear gas at protesters. The violence in the city of Rawalakot follows accusations of vote rigging during the first phase of regional elections. Voting's now ended across 13 constituencies, and turnout's reported to be low after calls for a boycott. Al Jazeera's Kamal Haider's following the story for us from Islamabad.
Why so much? Because he'll probably get special favors from the Donald Trump government. Who knows? But the thing that's becoming apparent, guys, is that money isn't impacting elections as much as it used to before. I know it still is. But I think Abdul Al-Sayed's election in Michigan is going to be quite a key one to understand. It's going to be quite a key one to understand because, yeah, Haley Stevens is... AIPAC is pumping money into Haley Stevens' campaign. Like, we're talking about 50 million or 30 million and more recently. So it's getting close to $50 million in a Haley Stevens campaign, I think. It's huge. So, hey, Curves. Hey, Tani. So don't forget, like, the big money side of things is struggling at the moment, and that solidarity with that Palestine has built needs to continue. Any chance she loses? Oh, bro, yeah. I mean, have you seen the latest polls? All polls. It's Al-Sayed's game, bro. Al-Sayed's like destroying her. So continue to build solidarity within your communities. It has to be local. So your action has to be local, but the movement has to be global. Okay? So just continue to build solidarity within your communities, within your environments. Don't worry about things you can't control, like outside money. You just can't control it. But just keep leading with humanity, human rights first, human rights at the core of your movement. And right now, people understand why human rights are so important. Be as woke as you fucking can. Just do it, honestly. This is the time. Hey, Shiny. Kia ora. Hey, Prof.
Kamal, so security forces firing on demonstrators, mounting casualties following accusations of vote rigging. What's the immediate situation on the ground after the first phase, Kamal?
Hey, Big Jerry.
Well, Neve, it's important to note that the protest in Rawalakot has been going on for a number of weeks because of their demands, and of course that protest has been time and again checked by the security forces, who have resorted to tear gas and, of course, also using live munitions. However, the election accusations of rigging happened in Mirpur, where the election took place on Monday.
Hey, Sunshine.
The turnout, of course, was very
Hello from
low.
Ohio.
The
Oh, nice to
mainstream
have you here.
political parties, which are also the ruling parties here in Islamabad, accused each other of rigging. Ironically, many people here will tell you that the government in power also came amidst allegations of rigging. So that election was separate. However, because
Went to a fair with my love today. We got a beautiful caricature picture, and we happened to pass a cow farm and pet some baby cows. Sick day. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Did you see? By the way, talking about farms, I hear India has been supplying arms to, bro, that's old news. Yeah, it just Amnesty International has posted about it now, but India has been supplying arms to Israel since the beginning of the genocide. They're just not supplying as much as like America, Germany, and all of those people, but yeah, they have been. Guys, talking about farms, did you know that teacup pigs were a hoax? The teacup pigs were actually just massive pigs. And they marketed them as teacup pigs, and they were just piglets. They weren't even small, like... They were never teacups. People apparently bought them, and they grew up to be full-size fucking hogs. I could only like it's like that comment, you know, that we heard, like someone in a trading real-time trading YouTube channel. We had a person here talk to us about a commenter, and they were like, I'm buying the dip, but it's still dipping. And the teacup pig is like, it just keeps growing. It just keeps growing. There's no such thing as a teacup pig. I wonder at what point you start to realize it's a regular sized pig. It's all a lie, everybody. There is no such thing as a teacup pig. I was going to ask you, Prof, if you saw a teacup pig. Don't buy it.
Because of the violence that happened on Monday evening, the protest was called in Mirpur, where the elections were held yesterday. The city itself remained peaceful, and some of those protesters came to Mirpur to ask the shopkeepers to put down their shutters because of the excessive use of force that they accused the security forces of. They were fired upon, and so we had casualties now in Mirpur as well.
You say, Kamal, turnout was low, probably understandably given the violence, but how does all of this affect the overall credibility of the vote completely?
My friend had one in college that played with my dog. Soon it was bigger than my dog. Oh my gosh. Was your friend like, is it gonna grow smaller? When is it going to be teacup size again?
Well, as far as Pakistan is concerned, many people here will tell you that the credibility of the elections is always a question mark, that the decisions are not made by the voter, by the powers only. So that accusation stands all the time. Whenever there's an election in Pakistan, it is mired in controversy. However, we are told that this election in Kashmir is going to be in 3 phases because of the security situation. The first phase is complete. The PMLN, which is Nawaz Sharif's party and which is the ruling party, scored 9 out of 13 seats. The People's Party came second to that. They, of course, then accused the PMLN of rigging the election. The next phase is going to be on the 2nd of August. That will be in the provincial capital, Muzaffarabad. These protesters from Rawalakot are threatening to march on Muzaffarabad. Of course, that is why they're being stopped, and that is why the security forces say they're using force to disperse the marchers. So it will be important to see whether the second phase does take place.
The pig's name was Nigel. What a great name for a pig. Nigel. Oh my God, yes, I saw every single kind of livestock, state-winning chestnuts, a barbecue hot fudge sundae stand, piglet races, registered to vote Republican stand, and a candy raffle stand, and every carny took tap to pay. Wild. Whoa! Carnies have tap to pay? They have NFC? They have NFC, carnies? I thought it was cash only. Obvious question, Prof. Did you see Cletus there?
Whether it goes off smoothly without any allegations or accusations. And then there's going to be a third part later on the 10th of August, and that will be in another district. So this is all for 53 legislative seats. At the main stumbling block, of course, is those 12 seats which are reserved for Kashmiris who are living across the country. They take part in the elections. One of the Joint Action Committee demands is that those seats should be removed because they accuse the government of using those seats for political engineering.
Kamal Haider in Islamabad, thank
you. This whole situation in Kashmir is so fucking tragic, man. They're fighting, though. The Kashmiris are fighting for their freedom. And it's nice to see that in Pakistan, people are also standing up for Kashmir's right to be liberated. It's great to see the solidarity. But yeah, they're struggling, guys. Don't forget about places like Kashmir as well. Like we'll keep bringing it up with all of this stuff, all of this violence rising. I think it's important to talk about these areas. But just remember that it's the same forces. It's the same forces. The same capitalist forces causing these problems. Modi is a neoliberal. Pakistan is becoming a neoliberal nation now as well. After Imran Khan was arrested. So it's all kind of that Western capitalist mentality. And it's indigenous oppression again. It's all the same patterns repeating in these places. So, yeah, freedom, liberation for one of these places is no doubt going to have massive impact for liberation in other places going through the same things too. So, the fight is asymmetric. Just note, it's an asymmetric battle. Okay. The next topic I want to talk about is how AI is transforming modern warfare. It's a good place to be. I think it's a good transition because we've been talking about, these forces holding down indigenous populations. And one way, especially in Palestine, the weaponization of AI has been a huge deal. T-, welcome. And we're going to explore this a little bit with this Vice release. Let's check it out.
The kill chain.
Kill chain.
Kill chain.
Kill chain.
Kill chain is probably the phrase that defines modern war. It's how militaries move from identifying a target to shooting at it. And the chain is getting shorter. In the war against Iran in early 2026, the US military executed strikes on 13,000 targets.
Where do I see war and AI? I think it completely integrated. The problem again is the inaccuracies. I just don't think you can use technology like this without without there being mass casualties and mistakes. I mean, Minab is a great example. Minab is a great example of what happens when you over-index on AI. And, well, Gaza is a great example of what happens. Basically, where's your daddy was picking targets, and there was no checking about civilians. They didn't even give a fuck about civilians. They just killed everybody. So, yeah, I think AI is going to be misused, and it already is. There are many examples of it.
Spread over 38 days, that's about 342 strikes per day, or just over one every 4 minutes.
This was never meant to be a fair fight, and it is not a fair fight. We are punching them while they're down.
The US was able to maintain this astonishing pace through one technical advantage: integrating AI into their targeting and planning systems. Huge tech companies like Palantir, OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft are weaving their products into the US military, and they are making a killing.
Palantir's results are out. It's a big beat and a raise for Palantir again.
In this episode, I'm looking at the big business of the kill chain. This is about some of the most crucial questions in tech, politics, warfare, and economics. Who decides who gets killed, and who profits?
Not only mistakes, but they'll use faulty AI as an excuse for their war crimes. Yeah, plausible deniability, but I don't think you can't claim plausible deniability because someone says launch the missile, you know. So I just feel it's a tool. It's part of the tool set, but I don't think they can just claim AI is responsible and they're not. I don't think that's possible. I don't know, man. They'll figure it out. They'll do something. They'll change the laws to make AI accountable, not the people.
So, in a world where we're used to armies,
they'll make war crimes become like a bug fix.
Is talking in euphemisms like collateral damage for dead civilians and enhanced interrogation for torture, the phrase kill chain feels almost refreshingly honest. In essence, this is the process by which militaries move from selecting a target to actually firing at it.
AI can shorten what the military calls the kill chain. That is the process.
Yeah, I think instead of calling it collateral damage, they'll call it a bug.
Usually driven by humans that can take days or weeks in selecting a target, but AI can shrink that to milliseconds.
The interface that the US military uses is called the Maven Smart System, developed by Palantir for a reported $1.3 billion.
This is Maven Smart System, Palantir's software-as-a-service product that we are deploying across the entire department.
It's an AI-powered operational intelligence platform that can process astronomical amounts of data in seconds. The first step is that it identifies a potential target. This functions like a sort of Google Earth in real time that allows military planners to trace specific data points. Each of these little numbers appearing on screen represents a unique data point. Let's say one of those vehicles. Maven can cross-reference that number with every other intelligence database in seconds to track where that vehicle has been, who's driving it, and if it represents a legitimate target. But what's unique about Maven is the second step, an interface that actually allows targeters to plan and action strikes.
Abdullah family says the situation is difficult right now. There is a lot of shelling. Yeah, guys, Abdullah family is in Gaza at the moment, on the ground in Gaza. Please take a look at their information, help them out. But yeah, Gaza, we're going to cover Gaza in a bit. But yeah, Israel is starting to bomb Gaza at a high rate again. Not like it ever stopped, but after Trump claimed the disarmament, Israel is taking the opportunity to bomb them more. I mean, it's crazy.
Once you have a detection that you want to actually move into a targeting workflow, for example, this is what we do. Left click, right click, left click, magically, it becomes a detection.
This essentially looks like a Kanban workflow model that's used in many software development and IT companies. This one is just geared towards killing people. From there, we come to the third step. The same system guides the targeter to decide what weapon is best to use.
We now move into COA generation, course of action generation, where we are automatically, via a number of factors, trying to identify what the best asset to prosecute a target looks like.
By the way, I'm going to build a system like this to track corporations. This is essentially what he's describing is something I want to do to track corporations. Flip the script. Like, I want corporations to be held to account. I want to build, and that's what I'm working on right now. That's a project that I'm working on in the background. I want corporations to be held to account for everything they do. I want to understand if they say something to the public, they should be held to account for it. If they tweet something, they should be held to account for it. If they fart in the wrong direction, they should be held to account for it. I want to know every single thing a corporation does, especially those having global implications. I want to know if a corporation, if a person in a corp coughs, I want to know. It's about time we start giving corporations surveillance. Human beings need to be able to surveil corporations. I want to know. Because they say a lot of shit, but they still don't talk about genocide the way it should be talked about. They still don't oppose human rights violations. I want the workers to have the power. I want workers to have the power, true power. And fuck only corporations having this power, man. The working class needs to have this same power. That's what I want to set up, and I'm working on it. We're gonna do it. I'm honestly fucking so driven, especially after Air New Zealand's response, which has been complete silence to my questions about their human rights policies. They have set something off in me that is irreversible. That is irreversible. I've been busting my ass in the background, but this is it, you know? Like, we need to give power back to the working class. And if these mofos are going to start using these sorts of technologies against us, we're going to have to do the same in terms of, like, keeping track of. Now, I hate this. I hate the asymmetry of this. I fucking hate it. How can they do this to us while continuing to, like, stay silent on the mass murder of so many people, man? I hate this. I want to make their actions so public and so transparent that, you know, if they cough in the wrong direction, we'll know.
All from one system. This is revolutionary.
This is warfare wrapped up in startup culture. And we're seeing this kind of hard sell becoming standard across Silicon Valley, with tech bro CEOs making big claims for algorithmic warfare.
Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
But things can go seriously wrong. On the first day of the Iran war, US forces struck a girls' school in Minab, killing over 150 people, mostly children between the ages of 7 and 12. What went wrong here?
You look at it. You wait and see. After I launch this, how quickly they'll start to, like, how quickly corporations will try and get, take shit down. We'll try and like. I'm putting everything of my personal self into this. They'll come and try. I'm sure if people start to find out about it around the world, they'll come after me. Like corporations will come after me with lawsuits and all of this sort of stuff. It's just going to be a mess, but I don't care anymore, guys. Like, I've just seen too much. That was an AI strike on the school. Yeah, it was, Jesse. I just can't watch this shit anymore. I just can't watch this shit anymore and do nothing, man. Like, it's so bad. We're just being gaslit, guys. We're just being completely gaslit into believing that the world is just this way. It doesn't have to be this way. It never did have to be this way. It's fucking insane.
With all of this multi-billion-dollar tech, how could catastrophic mistakes like this happen? Well, this building used to be part of a military facility, but as far back as 2016, the building was separated from that facility and turned into a school. But the US targeting database was never updated. So when Maven analysed the target, all it saw was a military base. What's crazy here is that it's not like this school was some big secret. It was public knowledge. Any human being could have found it with a 2-minute Google search. But no human did.
Exactly.
Because the whole point of systems like Maven is to take humans out of the process. Once I started digging even a little, it became clear that it's not just Palantir that's involved here. Almost every major tech company seems to view military AI as a gold rush, and they want in. In fact, the original company brought in to develop Maven was actually Google, but so many employees protested that Google pulled out of the deal, allowing Palantir to step in.
It's got to be
We are mercilessly and proudly patriotic. That's obvious.
But wouldn't you know it, after Google pulled out of Project Maven back in 2018, the company has since quietly re-entered the war tech space, along with Microsoft, OpenAI, SpaceX, Amazon, and pretty much every major US tech company. But probably the most intense laboratory for AI-enabled warfare has been Israel's campaign against Hamas in Gaza since October the 7th, 2023.
Israel has been using an artificial intelligence machine called Lavender to identify thousands of potential Hamas targets in Gaza. The report says Israeli intelligence sources who served in the current war told how Lavender collects information on almost all the 2.3 million residents of the Gaza Strip through a system of mass surveillance.
In 2021, Google and Amazon signed a $1.2 billion deal with the Israeli military to create Project Nimbus, weaving their AI into intelligence analysis. In the same year, Microsoft signed another $133 million deal, making the Israeli Ministry of Defense its second biggest global client. But here's where I find things getting a little ironic. Because just as the US and Israel are using AI to bomb Iran and its proxies, Iran itself is using the same American AI to hit back. What we're seeing is Iranian hackers using tools available with OpenAI and Google to accelerate their attacks. Iranian military journals point to Iran also integrating AI systems in military targeting, showing how AI can enhance the capabilities of smaller armies to stand up to superpowers using asymmetric warfare, just like we've seen Ukraine using AI targeting to level the playing field against Russia. And thinking about it, maybe this is what I find most worrying. As more and more Silicon Valley CEOs cluster around Donald Trump, hoping for contracts, and the administration seems more and more intent on diluting rules and limitations on how this technology is used, it's getting easier to imagine a future of fully autonomous weapons systems with no human in the loop at all. And having witnessed the battlefields in Gaza and Iran, that feels like a future in which we all need to protect ourselves and our data.
Yeah. Either we protect our data or we gain leverage, right? Like, to me, the way I see it, the one thing the Strait of Hormuz,
reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
One thing the Strait of Hormuz has kind of taught me is leverage is so important. And to me, I think corporations are corporations think the statements they make are just offhand, and they can change their policy anytime they want and get away with it. And it's become the norm. Climate goals, human rights, all of this stuff. Like they'll pink wash, green wash, while
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
they'll pink wash, they'll green wash, while their supply chain includes like Israeli companies. How the fuck can that be real? You can't do both things. And all of these sorts of contradictions are there. Every single large company has these contradictions. I'm
New follower detected.
I'm going pretty deep on Air New Zealand because that's where it all started, with me calling out my brother, who is the CEO of Air New Zealand, about strengthening ties with India during a time when India is selling arms to Israel and strengthening ties. And I've been asking Air New Zealand for their human rights policy. And they've just ignored me. I've asked like 6 times. As you can imagine, my brother and I do not have a great relationship. We just don't. We've never really had a great relationship. But that's my own brother, Warrior Soul. And the thing to note about that is I've sent my brother, since the start of this genocide, hundreds, maybe not hundreds, tens at least, tens of videos, photos, images from on the ground in Gaza. Hasn't lifted a finger with the amount of influence he has. Instead, he has worked on strengthening ties with countries like India. And as much as I have a personal relationship with that guy, not a great one, I think every CEO in this country, in Aotearoa, New Zealand, should be held to account. Every CEO, for how they have behaved in this moment of great human rights violations. And I think every CEO should be held to account, to be held to account for their actions in this moment. So yeah, Air New Zealand being silent kind of has set me off on this journey of like holding corporations to account. That's why I'm not posting videos, because I'm just spending. Well, firstly, there's a lot going on in our lives. Like our dog almost died and is still like recovering. Our baby boy, all of that's been happening. I have a son and a wife, and we have a family. So there's all of that stuff. There's the live streaming, and I'm also trying to work on this project in the background. But Air New Zealand, where the moment it just ignored me after I spoke about what I spoke about, it has set off a storm in my mind. I'm like, how can these people ignore human rights violations? How can they do it? And when someone is calling them out, when someone is asking for information, they just ignore it. I will honestly, they have set off a storm in me. And I'm not going to stop until all of these companies answer for these insane decisions. And I think they will have to at some stage. We're going to make it extremely transparent. Okay. Just this is the last thing on that. We're going to put the power back into the working class. You better believe it. Okay. They probably already know there's always people behind those choices, corporations' mistakes. My brother has been very involved in the forming of the free trade agreement that New Zealand has just signed with India. My brother has been very involved in that with the PM of New Zealand, with the government of New Zealand at the moment, the highly white supremacist, racist government at the moment. And yeah, I know that he has. And it brings me deep, deep shame that my family member is doing things to validate, people committing genocide. It's fucking insane. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
Breaking news now because FIFA president...
Okay, this story's kind of wild. You know what's been happening with FIFA over the last 24 hours? FIFA has had to kind of stand down a little bit. FIFA has had to stand down. Check this out. You see, pressure does work.
Breaking news now because FIFA President Gianni Infantino says that he is scrapping plans to sell stakes in the World Cup to private equity investors after days of mounting controversy as well as global backlash. Well, moments ago, Infantino released a statement saying, quote, "Having listened carefully to all the views, it's become clear that the project has created divisions of a nature that, regardless of the level of support, are no longer in the interest of the objective set out in the first place. Our purpose has always been and will always be to unite and improve. As a result, this proposal will not proceed."
Woo! Yeah, we need that kind of collective no to genocide. UEFA came out immediately and said they will boycott FIFA if they continue with this deal. They haven't done anything of that sort about genocide, about the literal genocide of the Palestinians. UEFA hasn't done anything of that sort. Okay, so corporations do have political power. Corporations do have political power. They need to use it. They need to use it to stop these human rights violations.
Well done, my boy.
देखा मैंने कितना अच्छा डांस करता है? Now, this follows a chorus of condemnation from international football bodies, most recently the Asian Football Confederation and CONCACAF, which oversees North and Central American and Caribbean football, that weighed in to criticise the proposals. Well, kicking off the storm of criticism on Thursday was UEFA, European football's governing body, which threatened to boycott the 2030 Men's World Cup if Infantino went ahead with his private investment plans. Now, the lead investor, that would have been a venture...
The corruption won't end, Auntie Wash. It will just evolve.
...capital firm founded by Joshua Kushner, the brother of Jared Kushner, US President Donald Trump's son-in-law. Well, let's go straight now to James Franey, New York Post reporter, who was the first reporter to break this story. Very good to have you with us this evening, James. You were reporting that FIFA is scrapping those World Cup plans. What more can you tell us?
Well, I think, Helena, this was a question of politics really killing this deal. The numbers simply didn't add up. When you had UEFA come out against the privatization plan just yesterday, you had the spectacle where many big stars like Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe wouldn't have been present at the next World Cup in 2030, which is being hosted, may I say, by Spain and Portugal, as well as Morocco. So it just wasn't workable. As soon as UEFA came out with that statement, this plan was already on the rocks, and we got the confirmation earlier this afternoon that investors had pulled out, leaving Infantino with really nowhere to go, Helena.
James, tell us more about that. What did your sources tell you about how this collapsed, essentially?
Indeed. So we spoke to many people across European soccer federations, Wall Street investors. This was really, as I've just said in my previous answer, a question of optics. No one would dispute that the game of soccer, or football as you call it on the BBC, is all about making money. We know that from the Premier League. We know that from the UEFA Champions League. But the way that FIFA went about it is what basically killed this deal dead on arrival. The clubs, the federations, the fans, it was just the global outcry against Infantino's plan, with, may I say, his own number two saying he wasn't even aware of it. It just left him really with no choice just to fold, as he did in this statement just 1 hour ago that he released. I think the question now is what this means for Infantino's leadership of FIFA. Can he go on, or will there be some kind of leadership challenge at the next presidential election, Helena?
And what is the sense that you've been getting on that front as you've been speaking to different people about, the level of confidence or discontent with his leadership in light of this?
As you've seen from the statements that have come out from federations across the course of the day, this is almost universal. As I said in my...
I agree. He needs to step down. He needs to be replaced. My only thing is, at least with Infantino, we know his corruption. Like, who will replace him? Will they be worse? I mean, Sepp Blatter was corrupt as fuck, and Infantino replaced Sepp Blatter. Sepp Blatter was like insanely corrupt, and even Sepp Blatter's like, oh, Infantino's corrupt.
First answer, when UEFA came out with that statement that they weren't going to be present at the next 2030 World Cup, it was really already game over, I would say. You also had CONCACAF follow up with that, saying, even the US National Federation saying that this really wasn't what they were going to support. I don't know, frankly, based on my reporting, who could challenge Infantino at this point. But it's fair to say that his leadership is in crisis tonight. It's probably the darkest period in FIFA's 122-year history, given what's been going on. We'll have to see how this pans out, Helena.
James Franey bringing us that reporting. James, thank you for being with us.
What a crazy moment, eh? Infantino rigs the World Cup in Argentina's favor, and then choosing the Trump investor before the need was decided. Yeah, it's just basic corruption. The Prime Minister of Spain and Alex Soros are good buddies. There was a picture of them on... Oh, my... Ivy, man. You're not doing the Soros thing, are you? Fucking hell. Oh. What the... Please stop doing the Soros thing. You just look like an... It's just... Yeah, stop doing the Soros thing. Folks, stop.
Let's go straight now to Brian Chiaretta, writer at American Soccer Now and Soccer America. Good evening to you, Brian. So FIFA has backtracked. What do you make of it? Were you surprised?
No, I mean, when you saw that the opposition that Infantino was faced with, it was so massive and so intense that he really didn't have much of an alternative. The statement tonight that he's backed out really, was not something he wanted to do, but he was really forced to.
What do you think this will mean for UEFA? Will it soothe UEFA and that relationship with FIFA, or do you think there'll be, further questions raised in light of what had happened?
I mean, it's bad blood right now, too. I don't know how they're going to move forward. There's a lot of skepticism now around everything that Infantino does. He's certainly a weaker leader now of FIFA than he ever has been. When you go with such a bold move like this and it doesn't work out, he's in trouble. His leadership is in trouble. So, I think UEFA probably feels emboldened right now in terms of the fact that the power that it has over global football when it was able to really essentially get Infantino to back down.
FIFA had always said that this was about trying to find innovative ways to put more revenue into the game, particularly for smaller but talented clubs and countries. For example, in that statement that we had from Gianni Infantino, he had said that essentially this was...
What, you mean You mean turning FIFA into a capitalist hellhole is gonna result in trickle down? They've been telling us about trickle down for fucking generations, bro.
Well done, my boy.
देखा मैंने कितना अच्छा डांस करता है?
With the best interests
Crazy
of the World
times.
Cup at its heart. But what do you think, and what have fans been making of that argument?
Well, I don't think they see it as genuine because there was no consensus building before this plan was announced. It was essentially forced on people from day one, from everyone. Everyone going, there was no, usually when you want to make a bold decision, you gather everyone around, you talk about it in the back rooms, and you try to come to a consensus.
The only thing trickling down are my tears as I look at my bank account. Dingifer, tell me about it. Over-leveraged and overtired.
Consensus before the plan is put in place. And in this case, that was not done. So obviously everyone starts viewing this in the worst possible light. You know, we're just coming off a World Cup right now where lots of revenue came in, tons of revenue came in. So why wasn't that not enough to meet FIFA's objectives too? Like, you just don't have these kind of answers. But the whole way around that Infantino went about this, you know, so just by himself, it was almost like he was a dictator here, enforcing, you know, just coming up with a plan and implementing it. No one trusted him.
I mean, do you think this is case closed? Could there be another iteration in the future of a similar proposal?
The only way it comes around is if there's, like I said before, lots of consensus building, talking beforehand, where everyone's on board before the plan is announced and stuff like that. I mean, you have to have a lot of backing in the back room, and lots of planning has to go in, and incorporating a lot of different viewpoints so no one feels left out. So everyone knows what's going on before this is thrown at them. So if it comes around again, it's going to be handled in a very, very different way. It's not going to be just forced on everybody.
And it's early next year, if I'm not mistaken, that Gianni Infantino is up for re-election, currently running unopposed. A lot of conversation about whether there will be now other candidates.
Oh, shit. Look at this. The United States stands with the people of Spain and all Europeans against this egregious violation of their sovereignty and human rights. This unacceptable incident is the direct result of the Spanish government's deliberate efforts to enable and facilitate mass illegal migration into Europe. We are considering actions to defend Americans at home and abroad from this threat and stand ready to assist other European allies considering similar options. Oh, shit! America's gonna bomb Spain! America's gonna bomb Spain, bro! Oh my gosh! Troops to Europe? Oh my gosh. Okay. It's so clearly spurred by Israel and the US. Guys, trust me on this. The way here's how I feel about this. I spoke about this last night. Those Moroccans running across the border, they are not the problem. Those Moroccans running across the border are people with very little in their lives. They have very, their futures are completely broken because of the way the world works. So those people running across the border and now being led back across the border, which is what's happening, I stand with those people. Okay? If Europe, if the USA wants to attack Spain's sovereignty, wants to create a problem within Europe and start to have impact on the European government, bro, you know what? Colonizers shitting on each other, I'm here for it. The colonizers crapping on each other's plates. Wow. They should make a reality TV show. You think Spain is a good actor in this world? You think Spain is a good actor historically? What, just because they're recognizing Palestine, etc., like that makes them a good actor? Bro, Spain has caused so much pain and suffering. Spain has caused so much pain and suffering to so many around the world. Let's be real. Colonizers fighting each other is a reality TV show I would love to watch. Fuck it. Honestly. It's about time that they start, like, dismantling each other. Because the other option is genocides around the world continue because of their greed. Fuck it, man. USA and Spain fighting? Fuck it. Let it happen. I don't give a fuck. This time, they're not going to have brown and black bodies to throw if there's a war.
Do you think he can hold on? Can he weather this?
Yeah, colonizers acting like these immigrants are colonizing. Yeah, insane, eh? No, they're going to use this as something to politicize for an election to replace the head of state with someone who supports Israel and the US. Yeah, most probably. And that person will be a fascist. And fascists think inward. Fascists don't work with each other well. Fascists destroy everything about their own civilization. Fascists are self-destructive in nature. The more fascism that Europe goes into, the more self-destructive Europe will get. And that's how fascism has worked across the board. Fascism destroys, man. And most of the time, fascism destroys itself. So fuck it. Dude, like, if Europe wants to double down on this rhetoric of, like, dehumanizing people who Europe continues to steal from, Europe continues to benefit from, then you know what? What comes next for Europe isn't going to be that great. Honestly, it's just not. I have said this time and time again. Europe needs to deal with this moment with empathy and open arms, not with walls and guns. It won't work. Europe isn't what it used to be. Europe doesn't have the black and brown bodies to throw at a problem anymore. Europe doesn't have the colonies to extract wealth like it used to anymore. Europe has to deal with the situation with empathy, open arms, and the R word, reparations. And reparations. This is not an immigration event. So what? Those people are fucking poor and they're running a crowd, It's astroturfing, yeah, but they're using people with very little. The Moroccan government, the US and Israel are using people who have very bleak futures to do this. I am with those people. Even if it's astroturfing, I am with those people because those people don't have good futures because of Europe, because of white supremacy, because of the US, because of Israel. They don't have good futures. If they're running across the borders, I am with them.
Can he survive?
It's going to be very close, and it wouldn't surprise me if the answer is no. You know, this is when there's such weakness.
Yeah, the people who organized it, hold them to account. But the people who are running across those borders, there is a real problem. Those people aren't just tools. They are being oppressed where they are. They are being displaced where they are. There's a real problem in this world. Those people's problems aren't worthless. Those people's problems are not something we should ignore. Even if they've been used as a means to an end, their problems are not something we should ignore.
and such a public, this is very public this is a humiliation for him. It's very tough to survive these kind of things too. So I'm sure other people are going to emerge to try to challenge us, or he might just step aside. I don't know how it's going to happen.
Hey, El Finito,
we're going to learn a lot very soon. It's too early for me to predict exactly because I'm still unraveling this myself.
Yeah.
But I think there's real weakness and there's real.
Let's not forget, guys. Just a few months ago, I played the video yesterday. In the European Union Parliament, they voted on tougher immigration laws and chanted "Send them back." And that is the European Union. Do you think I give a fuck, bro? Like, if what happens to the European Union when it comes to immigration? Like, they are murdering so many people trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea to look for a better life. Okay? Do you guys not know? Okay, I'll play that chant again. Here it is. This was a vote in the European Union to tighten immigration laws. June 19, 2026. It wasn't even that long ago.
Adopted. The first reading.
The EU will now hold migrants in offshore detention centres after the European Parliament approved its strictest ever migration law. Right-wing MEPs burst into chants of send them back after winning the vote.
Adopted. The first reading.
The deportation hubs will allow the EU to detain migrants with no right to be in the EU for an indefinite period, or until they can be returned to their home country. Only unaccompanied minors would be exempt, meaning families with children could be held in the so-called return hubs. MEPs from the centre-right, the right-wing and the hard-right teamed up to push through the bill, which won by 418 votes to 218. As a Conservative bloc begins to emerge in the Parliament on migration issues.
On the agenda, the report by Mrs. Brigmont on the EU-Pakistan Agreement modification of concessions on tariff rate quotes. Vote on consent by roll call vote. The vote is open.
The EU will now have the power to set up agreements with external countries to house the deportation centres.
The problem is the EU was already doing this. Now it's just completely formalized it across the EU. Italy, Spain, all of these countries were already doing this. Greece, they were all involved in this racket. Now it's just being formalized. Bro, Pedro Sanchez isn't like the bringer of fucking freedom or liberation. The guy is a colonizer through and through. Like, don't ever be gaslit by any European leader thinking that they're going to be great to the world. They're not, bro. This is Europe. These fucking people chanting, send them back. It's always been Europe. Okay? I do not believe that Europe gives a fuck about any one of those people drowning in the Mediterranean Sea today. They just don't.
As well as the ability to search the properties of suspected migrants. A key provision, in theory, allows the bloc to deport migrants while their appeals are ongoing, ending the current system where deportations are automatically halted while an appeal goes through. However, courts will retain the ability to do this on individual cases. Migrants can now be detained before deportation for up to 2 years, up from the current 6 months, and for an unlimited time period for those considered a security risk. Entry bans will be toughened, up from 5 to 10 years for those entering the EU illegally.
Western extractionism, the system of capitalism, the system of exploitation of labor has created the environment for these people in their own countries that has forced them to flee war, climate change risks, militarized police, a genocide, like we're talking about Sudanese people as well, people from the Congo, etc., people from Western Sahara all leaving. And it is that same oppressive system that's also stopping them from moving, that's preventing them to move. It's not only creating the conditions that's making these people move, it's also preventing them from moving. That's the system Europe has built. And America has built also in Latin America. And now around the world. It is a deeply racialized system. It benefits white people. It is the old empire protecting itself. None of this is good. So I am on the side of those migrants running across those borders, bro. I always will be. No matter they're used for whatever. I've seen what happens in the Mediterranean. I've seen what happens I've seen those bodies. I've seen those sinking ships. I've seen those rescues. I've seen the bodies washing up of babies on beaches. I've seen all of that. When you've seen all of that, you can't look away. You can't look away at what the European Union, what the UK, what the West is complicit in right now. It's fucking dark, bro. And the window for empathy and open arms and reparations is shutting. Pretty soon the global south will be like, fuck your empathy, we want revenge. And that is the moment when it's just going to get worse. And the West doesn't have the means to stop that. It's not good. We need to deal with the situation in a humane way. We need to start dismantling these systems of extraction, these systems of oppression, not doubling down. We can't double down on these systems. They're broken. Let's look at how Western media is reporting this, okay?
We've never seen scenes like this before.
Tens of thousands of migrants have now made it from Morocco into this.
Reparations, Josh. That's the alternative. When your whole life is created on the theft and exploitation of labor of the global south, at some stage this was always going to happen. Your privilege is the problem. There should be no privilege. No human being should be treated as exceptional. No one. We should all be treated equally.
Spanish sliver of North Africa.
Madrid is deploying military units to its border with Morocco in an effort to
dismantle white supremacy, dismantle white privilege.
Restore order.
Ceuta es una ciudad española.
Spain's far-right Vox party called this an invasion.
No, I'm not talking about a class war. Not yet anyway. I'm talking about dismantling white supremacy and white privilege.
The images are
You don't even know what the fuck Marxism is, bro. You've just learned that word because of some idiot. You don't even know what Marxism is. You don't know what Marxism is. You don't know what communism is. You don't know what socialism is. You don't even know what equity is. You're just a... Yeah, you don't know. Because you're wrong. So we take over the bourgeoisie? That's Marxism? Are you stupid? Like, your statement is dumb.
Dark, so are the numbers. About 60,000 migrants have crossed into Spain's North African territory of Ceuta from Morocco in the last 24 hours. That's according to Ceuta's president. At least 43 others died during the crossing. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez described the situation as an attack. He said all illegal migrants would be returned to Morocco as
When you've lived with privilege, equality feels like oppression. I think Josh feels like he's losing his privileges here.
soon as possible. Officials say that more than 35,000 have returned to Morocco voluntarily so far. Over the next 10 minutes or so, we will look at why it has happened and reaction to it. But first, one of the big questions a lot of people are asking is where exactly is Ceuta? Here's a quick explanation.
Ceuta is a Spanish North African territory.
It is on Morocco's northern coast and is separated from mainland Spain by the Strait of Gibraltar and has long been a focal point for migrants attempting to reach Europe.
Yeah, so Josh, then why are you fucking talking about Marxism when I'm talking about equity, buddy? What do you mean? You called it Marxism and you just like said Marxism. You didn't even define Marxism correctly. You just said we take over the bourgeoisie and that's Marxism at its finest. Maybe you should talk to your elders a little bit more, bro, and stop leaning in on Polynesians like Winston Peters and David Seymour. Go find yourself, buddy, because the shit you're saying is just it's the antithesis of what Maori solidarity looks like. It's crazy. Learn about your history.
Along with its larger sister city, Melilla, situated some 400 kilometres further south along the coast, together they form the European Union's only land borders with Africa.
They have long been a flashpoint in diplomatic relations between Morocco and Spain.
Morocco does not officially recognise them as Spanish territory.
They trace their Spanish past back to the 15th century.
Historically, both port cities developed as military and trade centres linking Africa to Europe.
Since 1995, they have enjoyed a limited degree of self-government.
So what exactly has happened in Ceuta over the past 24 hours? Our Southern Europe correspondent Sarah Rainsford explains.
These images are of thousands of migrants suddenly rushing towards Morocco's border with Ceuta, a tiny sliver of land that belongs to Spain. They swam across in such huge numbers that the border effectively collapsed. There was chaos. The swim isn't long, but some people clearly struggled and several dozen have drowned. Those who did make it to shore, though, were euphoric.
No Marruecos, viva España, viva!
So why Ceuta? Well, it's a spot where Europe and Africa meet directly, a stepping stone, something on the way to a better life. It's just a few square miles in size and with around 80,000 inhabitants, so 50,000 more arriving in just one day was quite something. Spain has now sent troops and police to help keep the peace and to reinforce the border. But there are also questions about what Morocco did or didn't do to stop people crossing. Right now, it's not happy with Spain because of Spain's relations with Algeria, not a friend of Morocco. Spain's government is playing that down because it needs help from Morocco now to be able to send people back there. Many have already gone, but many thousands more are still in Ceuta and unsure of what happens next.
CBS News reporter Ada.
I want to hear about their lives. I want to hear about why they're in desperate situations. I want to hear about their stories. I don't want to hear about these pro-Western media outlets trying to protect Western borders with shitty narratives from terrible human beings. I want to hear those people's stories.
Aidan Stretch is in Ceuta and sent us this update.
Over the last 48 hours, tens of thousands of people have poured across the border.
Oh, you posted that clip? Oh, you have that? Sorry. Let's take a look. Sorry, Maddie. Sorry, Matt.
Norfolk and Western.
So you read a news article that said that if you came here, you could claim asylum and live in Spain. And you read that and then you decided to swim over.
It says Spain is open the door.
It said Spain has opened the door. This was on social media.
Yeah.
On what, on Twitter or Instagram? Or?
Facebook, Instagram. Everyone wants to be here.
Why don't you want to go home to Morocco?
No, Morocco. No, Morocco.
There's no money in Morocco.
See. If you have a family, children like that, you can be happy all the life.
Do you have a family?
Yeah. My mother, but should be do something to live a good life.
So you really want to leave Morocco? You don't care where you go?
Go Spain, anywhere. Just
Spain, Turkey. You just want to be able to leave Morocco. And why is that? Why do you want to leave Morocco so badly?
The hope.
All these people have been told. So you read a news article that.
Yeah. What the fuck do you say to people like that, man? Morocco just shot itself in the foot. The US just shot itself in the foot. These people have no hope. So they gathered them up, used them as tools. Who do you think that? Who is that making look bad? Who's that gonna make? Who's gonna look bad because of this? It's not Spain. But Spain's also going to look bad because now everybody knows that Spain is still colonizing Africa, bro. Everyone's just learnt that Spain still has territory on African soil. Oh, fuck. Excellent. I'm not protecting Spain in this situation, man. I'm just not protecting Spain in this situation. I'm not protecting Israel. I'm not protecting the US. I'm not protecting the Moroccan government. I'm not protecting any of these fucking, these people who are part of this imperialist machine. I'm not protecting any of them. I'm wanting to listen to these fucking people who have their lives stripped away from them by governments that are subservient to Western extractionism. And Morocco is one of those. Morocco has also signed on to the Abraham Accords. Morocco has also signed on to the Abraham Accords. Like, come on, guys. Like, these countries aren't acting in good faith. None of them have ever acted in good faith. Maybe Pedro, a couple of statements here and there acted in good faith, but you just need to understand how Spain became Spain. Spain still supplies weapons to Israel? Yeah. I mean, for all we know, Spain is just controlled opposition at this stage, So always look from the perspective of the oppressed people. These people who are used as pawns for a greater agenda in the world. They are the ones who are living tragically. They aren't the problem. Okay, never see it like that. These people aren't the problem.
From Morocco into this tiny Spanish enclave of Ceuta. You can see many of them are now lined up here in the water, ready to come home. Many of them told us that they came here in search of jobs, of money, of food.
Thank you so much, Amir.
One of them told us that he wanted to play European soccer. They haven't found that here yet. Some people that we spoke to said that they haven't been able to find food for 24 hours and are now lining up to return home voluntarily.
So that's what's happening on the ground, but why are the migrants opting to go via this route? That's a question for our global population correspondent, Stephanie Hegarty.
Well, for one, it's a relatively easy crossing compared to other ways to get from Africa to Europe. It's the only land border connecting the EU and Africa. It's a short swim from one place to the other, or a climb over several fences. And that border is heavily secured, but as we've seen, it's relatively easy when there's this number of people to over.
Always look at the narrative, okay? Look at the narrative. Whenever you see things like this happen, look at who people are complaining against. Look at how people are speaking about these human beings. Look at how people, which side people are taking. I bet you most people who consider themselves pro-Palestine are talking about how Spain is the target of injustice here. And that injustice has come from Israel, US, and the Moroccan government. You know, Spain is the victim. No, bro. Spain ain't the victim. These people are the victims. These people running across the border, risking their lives, they are the victims. Not Spain, not the Moroccan government, not the US or Israel. It's these people who are risking their lives, their everything. This is like their last option. So you gotta like deconstruct these narratives a little bit, because they're very dehumanizing. They don't see these people running across the border as human beings. And I say this to pro-Palestinians as well. Not just like other people, not just pro-Israel people or whatever, because we know they'll do this. They'll dehumanize them. But there are lots of pro-Palestinians who think Spain are the victims here. But it's not true, guys. Spain has also been involved in a lot of the drownings that happen in the Mediterranean Sea because of their border rules as well. So just be clear-eyed about this moment. Center human rights, center equal human rights, center equitable outcomes for all, and then you will see the reality of the situation.
Overwhelm those border forces.
Well, this is the biggest mass crossing for 5 years in Ceuta, so why is it happening now? Here's Stephanie again.
So earlier this month, Spain's Supreme Court ruled that migrants who reach the Spanish enclaves of Ceuta and Melilla from Morocco by sea cannot be returned to Morocco without their being given the chance to claim asylum. So it's possible that is what inspired all of these people to cross now. But it's not clear exactly how such a large number of people, tens of thousands of people, coordinated and organized to make this move in one go. Most of these people do seem to be North African. They're not black, not sub-Saharan African for the most part. And from what the Spanish authorities are telling us, they seem to be Moroccan.
What's been the reaction from Spain to the influx of migrants from Morocco? The Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez condemned it as an attack and violation of Spanish sovereignty. Take a listen to what he said.
Ceuta es una ciudad española.
Ceuta is a Spanish city, and the scenes we saw yesterday I condemn in the most energetic way. I reject them. I condemn them. I condemn them as deplorable.
Yeah, here's a colonizer saying that the colony is Spanish territory. You know, like you can't even ignore the colonizer rhetoric anymore, can you? Like, look at this guy. He's like, Ceuta is Spanish. No, it's not, bro. It's not in your fucking country. This is, and then they talk about sovereignty and all of this stuff when the colony still exists. People are still talking, people talk like European colonization ended. When the fuck did it end? When did it end? So don't see Pedro as some fucking messiah, please. Don't do it. It's wild that people glaze this guy so much. It's wild that people glaze this guy so much.
They were a violation of the territorial integrity of a Spanish city, the Spanish city of Ceuta.
Several European leaders have expressed concern, some promising to tighten border controls. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said no one should be allowed into the EU without following the rules. In a moment, we'll hear from Emanuele Loperfido, an MP for the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's Brothers of Italy party. But first, here's the UK Government Minister John Healey.
We've never seen scenes like this before. What it shows...
We've never seen scenes like this before? Well, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders have seen scenes like this before. Maori in Aotearoa, New Zealand have seen scenes like this before. Native Americans have seen scenes like this before. Latin America across the board has seen scenes like this before. Turtle Island as a whole has seen scenes like this before. Palestine has seen scenes like this before. India has seen scenes like this before. The whole of Asia, Africa has seen scenes like this before. So, well, you reap what you sow, I guess.
Is that illegal immigration is an international problem. and we're working really closely with countries across the world to try and deal with these terrible people traffickers.
It is a mutual interest of the European countries to control who is entering in the European Union. So that is what we are asking to Spain. It is just to say that there is something possible inside the European Union to have a temporary suspension of the Schengen Agreement. That is what we are eventually thinking about the situation with Spain, because there are thousands of immigrants that are arriving in this Spanish city. It is not only Italy that is eventually thinking about that. There is also the Finnish Prime Minister that already stated that Giorgia Meloni was doing correctly, and France already announced very severe control on the border with Spain.
The Global South saw this bullshit happening to them for hundreds of years, man. This is the hypocrisy of the moment, guys. This is the hypocrisy of the moment. And I'm telling you right now, the West either deals with the situation with open arms and empathy and reparations, or the Global South eventually will stop asking for equity and start demanding revenge. And that's when it gets bad. So like, it's important that Europe takes a moment here and understands what's at stake.
So that's a flavour of the reaction from Europe, but what about from Morocco? BBC Monitoring's Gregory Holyoake has been looking at what has been coming out from the country.
So the official response in Morocco itself seems to be one of almost deafening silence. We in Monitoring have not observed any comments by the king or officials within Rabat or the kingdom. There has been some reporting in pro-government media, but it has generally suggested a positive picture of cooperation between Rabat and Madrid. In opposition media, there's been more questions that have been coming out about why people are trying to leave in the first place.
Ceuta and Melilla have long been a focal point for migrants attempting to reach Europe. Gregory has more on previous incidents at the border.
Now, this certainly isn't the first time this has happened. Just a few years ago...
But it's just absolutely fine to then buy vacation homes in those countries? Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. The Global South has been experiencing this influx of invaders for so long. And now the Global South just has to kind of shut up about it and be okay with everything the West says about immigration and, you know, who the ideal immigrant is, who has the right to have freedom of movement. Do you think the Global South is just going to sit there and take this forever, man? Like, what the fuck is the West thinking?
In 2021, we saw a similar influx of people coming in. Up to 8,000 is what was being reported at the time, coming into these two enclaves at the top end of Morocco. We saw reporting at the time, and even now being referred back to, that was also a sort of pressure technique that Morocco might be using over Spain's position towards Western Sahara as well. There has been a very long dispute between Spain and Morocco over sovereignty of these two areas as well.
Hey, True Sensei.
There has been a lot of kind of quotations and citations in Moroccan media saying that they are occupied territories and that this is showing that they are not sustainable as Spanish territory going forward. So we will have to see what happens with the diplomatic fallout.
And finally, let's look at the migrant numbers across Europe. How many people make in each year? Back to our global population correspondent, Stephanie Hegarty, who has been looking at the numbers.
So the UN's International Organization for Migration has estimates for how many migrants cross into Europe in these irregular routes every year. And last year, their estimate was 150,000 people for the whole year for all of the different routes into Europe. But that's actually a decrease from the year before of 300,000 people. Most of those people are coming through different routes, through the central Mediterranean, from Tunisia or Libya to Italy, and then a huge number also from Turkey into Cyprus, Bulgaria, or Greece. When it comes to this route that we're talking about, it was much smaller numbers. So for the whole of Spain, there were last year only about 36,000 migrants entering Spain, through most of them on the much more dangerous route from West Africa to the Canaries. So you can see from those numbers just what a huge contrast that is to have 50 to 60,000 people crossing into Spain in one day.
And that is all you need to know about the migrants in Ceuta.
The migrants in Ceuta, when it's like literally their land. Oh, gosh, dude. The way history is whitewashed is astonishing. The thing, I think dismantling white supremacy and white privilege is still got to be one of the biggest goals in order for the world to start becoming an equitable world for all. Like, look at the way they're reporting this, you know? It has to be the number one priority. And the media ecosystem is such an important thing to overhaul, I believe. Because it's just so dehumanizing to everybody else who isn't, you know, either white or completely subservient and completely sort of meshed into this system of oppression. It's insane.
Has suspended its open border arrangement with Spain. It comes after dramatic surge.
Hold on.
Italy has suspended its open border arrangement with Spain. It comes after dramatic surge in migrant crossings from Morocco into the Spanish territory of Ceuta. 50,000 people have entered.
Since PM Merkel invited all immigration who had the money to bring them to Europe, it's just an EA. I don't know what that means, Gerhard. But if you're talking about the Syria situation, the Syrian civil war, that was all kicked off because of the Arab Spring, which, yeah, America and the West was very much at the core of inciting. I mean, if the West continues to do this shit and then causes the problems and people flee their homes and then the West complains about it, it's just like nobody can win, man. It's just injustice after injustice. It's horrible.
To the enclave in the past 2 days, mainly by swimming around a border fence. Spain's authorities say most have now returned to Morocco, but at least 57 people died whilst trying to make the crossing. Rebecca Collard reports.
This is what the European Commission president called unacceptable. Images of migrants trying to get around the border fence that divides the Spanish territory of Ceuta from Morocco. Some try to skirt around it. Others scale the fence and try to squeeze through the wire at the top. Others take to the sea and swim around the fence, some with the help of inner tubes and floating devices. Dozens of migrants have died trying since Thursday morning. Ceuta is one of 2 Spanish territories surrounded by Morocco on the North African coast. Migration through both has long been a source of tension. It's not clear what prompted tens of thousands to attempt the crossing now, but Spain's leader pointed to smugglers.
What lies behind this is the self-interested interpretation that the criminal networks trafficking human beings have made of a Supreme Court ruling.
The court ruling that he's referring to limits Spain's ability to send back migrants who have entered the country without proper documents.
What did they do to Ukrainians who migrated? Trust me, they'll start hating them as well. It's not far away. Asena, it all started off very nice and cordial, but yeah, it's not going to last that long. Look at like how Europe reacted to Jewish people fleeing pogroms in Eastern Europe in the 1800s and early 1900s. Like Britain shut off its borders to Jews fleeing pogroms in Eastern Europe, to Eastern European Jews. Like, this is not new for Europe. Europe has been doing this for a long time. The 1905 Aliens Act, this is the same shit. There's nothing different here. It's just racist, bigoted. It's famous statement from a Canadian official during the Holocaust regarding Jewish refugees. None is too many. Wow. they've been doing this. Europe is so hypocritical, so many contradictions. Spain is an example as well. Yeah, I mean, so many people like to glaze Spain for its policies for Gaza, but it's not like, yeah, it's not consistent. Right now, consistency is so important.
Documents. Migrants who make it to Ceuta can't enter mainland Spain or the rest of the EU without going through border checks. Despite that, France said it would implement tighter border controls with Spain. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is suspending free movement of people between Spain and Italy, and Germany's Chancellor demanded that Morocco take back what he called illegal migrants. Spain says thousands of new arrivals have already returned voluntarily.
Jesse, I disagree. I think global equity, this is a transitional period. This is a transformational period. I think global equity is increasing. That's why we're having situations like this. I think, bro, there's a dude wearing a Wembanyama jersey. Let's go. There's a dude wearing a Wembanyama jersey. Oh, bro. Wembanyama, the GOAT. Okay. I just got distracted there for a second. And Vinny Jr. as well from Morocco. You got Vinny fans in Morocco. You got Yankees fans in Morocco. Damn. So global equity is tumbling. It was a question. Right. It's not tumbling. I think it's increasing. I think the Strait of Hormuz.
Reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
I think the Strait of Hormuz is a great example of that, because for the first time, the West is being sanctioned for its illegal and violent actions in the global South. And the blockade of Hormuz is a direct sanction to the West. So I just think we are witnessing a transition period to a more equitable world, but not the ideal state, but it's becoming more equitable. The data's pointing towards a more equitable world, but it's still, the transition period is going to be violent. The transition period is going to be repressive, oppressive. It's going to be bad. As old empires continue to maintain their control on the world, as oligarchs continue to maintain the working class in situations where they can be exploitable and manipulatable. So the transition isn't going to be smooth, but we are trending towards a more equitable world for all. It's a long fight, guys. It's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in a year. It may not even happen in the next couple of decades. But it will continue to move in the right direction. We just need to stay consistent. We need to keep growing the solidarity. We need to keep growing the movement. We need to keep educating and progressing. But I don't think the world is getting less equitable. Salam, Auntie Wash. Europe is going to go fascist. It already has. It already has, but fascism is a self-inflicted wound. Fascists struggle to work with each other. Walaikum assalam, Jujus. I mean, look at Winston Churchill and Hitler. Two fascists didn't work well with each other.
This footage, released by Spain's Interior Ministry, appears to show people returning through a border crossing.
To be honest, I don't even know why I've come. I'm heading back now. It's as simple as that. Having eaten since lunch yesterday. Although I did bring some money with me, just for taxis and stuff, and that's it. That's all I can tell you. I haven't slept yet.
But as some were going back, more people gathered on the Moroccan side of the border, waiting for their chance to enter Europe. Rebecca Collard, Al Jazeera.
Joris Larek is an associate professor of EU and international law at Leiden University. He says it is legally impossible for Italy to suspend Spain from Europe's open border agreement.
As politically attractive as it may be for especially far-right parties, anti-immigration parties, to speak of suspending Spain from Schengen, it's legally impossible. So you cannot suspend unilaterally, certainly, one country from the Schengen zone. Actually, you can't even, by some kind of common accord, suspend anybody from Schengen. So it's a political catchphrase behind which hides actually a much more limited measure, which is just passport checks, which are also done normally on a selective basis between member states. Now there's already several EU member states which have been implementing passport checks in Schengen borders.
I don't think retribution is the right word, and it wasn't just half the world. It was 95% of the world. Let's be more accurate. It was a lot more than just half the world, and it was death and destruction. It was genocide. It was theft. It was slavery. It was exploitation. It was the whole thing. That's what Europe did to the world, and it's not just Europe did that to the world. It continues to do that to the world. And I don't think it has to be about retribution. It could be about resolution. It could be about reparations. It could be about empathy. It could be about healing. But that's up to how Europe behaves. That's up to how the United States behaves. That's up to how the West behaves. It really is. And I think it's time for the West to understand that it does not own the world anymore. And the trend of change cannot be stopped. It's happening every day. And the West needs to come to the table and build a more inclusive world, man. It just has to. Otherwise, we're looking at war and death and destruction at huge scales. Like, it will be, World War II will seem like child's play compared to what will happen if there's a World War III. Like, we don't need that. We just don't need that. We need to move forward. We need to progress as a global society. And we need to start thinking about what next. But yeah, whiteness will continue to say the big problem here is white supremacy, and the West and white supremacy will say, if we can't have the world, no one can. And that's my main concern. I hope that isn't what happens. I want it to be a peaceful transition to a more equitable world for all. But from what I'm seeing right now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Including my country, the Netherlands, now running for, I think, close to 20 months. So it's not unprecedented. What makes this situation, though, doubly strange is firstly that there is no land border between Italy and Spain where you could have those passport checks. So it's really strictly ports and airports. And secondly, we're not yet talking about the migrants that have come now to Ceuta, to the enclave, being able to leave it to mainland Europe, be that Spain, Italy, or anywhere else, because passport checks, passport controls were already part of the rules there. So it was already, those enclaves are permanently excluded from the passport-free Schengen travel area as it is, even before this situation and before the Italian government's announcement.
I don't see a future where Europe or the US will back down. I wish I could think otherwise. I think the conditions for change are there, especially with people witnessing the genocide in Gaza live streamed and truly understanding what their governments are doing. The British Empire particularly, there is still a pride amongst British people for this colonialism. Yeah, I mean, they still continue to justify the king, the biggest white supremacist, to to be funded by taxpayer dollars. So yeah, I think Britain is very proud of its colonizer history, but tries to deny it. Tries to deny its heritage, but also is extremely proud of it. You can't have it both ways. Just say it with your chest, British people. All good, Amelia. All good. I honestly feel, guys, like this is such a crazy moment. And when you look at it economically, global, the state of global of the global economy, the way technology is being, such white supremacy is ingrained in their psyche. Yeah, white supremacy was ingrained and still is in European colonization, right? That was the basis of European colonization. It was based on white supremacy and the Christian patriarchy. So that hasn't gone away, because European colonization hasn't ended. It still continues through the structures of capitalism itself. So, yeah, white supremacy is very much ingrained, not just in their psyche, in our everyday lives. Okay, so I feel like it's the 30s all over again, but with a new flavor. Hey, Ms. Agnes, welcome. Court reinstates 656 million judgment against the PLO. Oh, shit. Let me guess, Israeli courts? Man. Okay. Let's head into what's happening with Gaza. We'll talk about the Gaza disarmament. We'll talk a little bit about Albania. We've got the new what Andy Burnham is unveiling. We've got what private equity is doing with your 401k. We're going to talk about how the Democratic Party is looking heading into the midterms. We're going to talk about a fighter jet crash in America, baby. And we're going to do some analysis on what's going on with AI, okay? So we've got a lot to go. I want to make myself a coffee, so I'm going to leave you with a bit of Cletus music while I go make myself a quick coffee. TikTok, I'm just going to pause you guys. It's going to be about 2 minutes, 3 minutes max. Maybe just a little bit more. But I will be back, okay? Quick coffee break, everybody. Go get your special brews if you're at brew. If you're at the office, go get your shitty office coffee. I'll see you in a second. I'm pausing the live. Keep the chat active on TikTok, everybody. Keep the chat active. Thank you. See you in a second. BRB. Kia ora. Kia ora, family. Back. You see in Indiana, they powered a data center instead of tornado sirens in the storm. What? No way, man. No way. Holy shit. We're so cooked, man. We're so cooked. Okay. Folks, I was thinking we kick off the second part of this with a look at what's happening in Albania. You go and water your balcony plants? Nice. Let's kick off the second half with what's happening in Albania. Cartoonishly evil is the headline to search. Holy shit. All right, here we go. Albania. A bit of context on Albania. The Flamingo Revolution is taking place. The Flamingo Revolution started because the government in Albania decided to sell some land. Oh, you have a movie night proposal for Discord? Ordered a DVD to watch party? Nice. Yes. Nice, Scary. Guys, head to our Discord. We'll reinstate movie nights again on Discord for the Discord community. We'll do some movie nights, and Scary will be leading our release info soon. Nice, Scary. Scary Poppins will be looking after the movie nights. And yeah, just watch-alongs on Discord with our community. It'll be fun. Thank you so much, Scary. Okay, so the Flamingo Revolution. Again, the people of Albania reject selling their sovereignty via private deals to external interests, their land, and they're rejecting this sale to Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. So there's been so many protests almost on a daily basis. So many protests against this deal, this land deal worth billions of dollars. People are standing up and saying, we don't want to sell our sovereignty, which is incredible to see. It's called the Flamingo Revolution, and we're going to learn a little bit more about it. This is the latest update from ABC News.
Stories involving Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner start on a yacht, and this one is no exception.
We were on our friend Nat Rothschild's boat.
We were on a friend's boat and we stopped for a swim.
Sorry, they say boat there, which makes it sound like something that you can load onto a trailer and park outside your house. But Nat Rothschild's boat cannot fit on a trailer. It's called Planet 9, and it's so big that it has 2 separate libraries and a garage to store other boats and a helicopter in. Anyway, Nat, Ivanka and Jared were out on this boat.
We got picked up in Montenegro, and then we started sailing over to Corfu, and we spent a couple days in Albania. One of the nights there, Prime Minister Rama came to the boat.
You know, you're on a boat and the Prime Minister of Albania pops in. Totally normal, relatable story. Anyway, they're sailing up the coast of Albania and they come across this island.
We swam to the islands. We went on a hike, barefoot all the way up to the top, and we were just captivated, and it stayed with us ever since.
Now, the way Ivanka describes this place kind of makes it sound like she discovered an untouched private island.
It's an unbelievable, beautiful 1,400-hectare private island in the middle of the Mediterranean, and we stopped for a swim. Effectively, that's how we found it.
The reality is what she found was a publicly owned island, which was the site of a former naval base and is now a regular day trip spot for Albanians. It's kind of like saying she went for a swim in San Francisco Harbor and found Alcatraz Island. But this beautiful island clearly had an impact on the pair. Jared Kushner says that he later travelled to Vlorë, the town on the mainland which is closest to the island.
Obviously, a country is going to build an airport by the coast in the place that they think is the most beautiful. So we went there, we looked for opportunities, and we were able to find some incredible opportunities.
So here's the...
Very likely that the US and Izzy will start their strike in a couple of hours. Where's that information coming from, Hurricane? Like, what's the... what are your thoughts? What's the news that's... no worries, Josh, man. No worries. It's all good, bro. It's all good. Seriously. The friends I have in the military have stopped replying. Oh shit. Oh, good. Thank you for coming, Matt. Thank you for saying that, man. And I appreciate that. That takes a lot to say it. It takes a lot of courage. I appreciate it. And I know I can change my approach to those sorts of interactions. It's just, I get a lot of bigotry and racism and all of this bullshit. So I've just built up a very very thick skin and way of replying. Sometimes people don't have those intentions, but thank you for saying that. Good on you. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate you, man. Welcome.
Opportunity he's talking about. Jared and Ivanka are hoping to build a large luxury resort on both the island and the mainland coastline nearest to it. But they have a bit of a problem. It seems like a lot of Albanians don't like this idea. Throughout this year's hot Mediterranean summer, thousands of Albanians have been taking to the streets, protesting angrily against the proposed resort development and demanding that the Prime Minister, the one who met Jared on that boat, resign from his office. Now, luxury resorts...
Oh, has Rama resigned? What? Rama resigned? Nah, he hasn't resigned. What are they saying? They're just demanding the resignation. I don't think he's resigned.
Resort development and demanding that the Prime Minister, the one who met Jared on that boat...
Oh, they're demanding. No, he hasn't resigned. They're demanding. Yeah. Shit, sorry.
Resign from his office. Now, luxury resorts aren't uncommon in this part of the Mediterranean. So why is this one causing months of angry protests? Is it just because it's Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner? Or is there something deeper going on here? Spoiler alert, there is something much deeper going on here. I'm Matt Bevan, and this is If You're Listening.
Ooh, I like it. Let's go. Let's dig a bit deeper into this. I love it. My spidey senses are tingling and jingling.
This is the Italian version of the game show Jeopardy! It's hosted by a guy named Mike Bongiorno, which sounds like a fake name made up by someone who was pressed to make up a name for an Italian game show host at short notice.
Hey, Mike, buongiorno. Buongiorno. Sì, Mike, buongiorno.
Back in the 1970s, this was one of the most popular shows on Italian TV. But little did Mike Bongiorno know, he had a slightly larger audience than his ratings would suggest. Across 75 kilometres of water on the other side of the Adriatic Sea, the people of Albania were building giant homemade aerials so they could pick up Mike on their TVs. See, for most of the Cold War era, Albanian television was entirely free of any entertainment programming. It was just the most dour, depressing communist propaganda imaginable. So people reached across the sea with their giant wobbly aerials in search of entertainment.
So what are we going to do for entertainment? We started watching Italian channels.
Albanian expat Ursita Sheshi told podcaster Abbas Wahab that people were so desperate for entertainment that they learned Italian to watch it.
Fratelli in Italia. No, ma non sai che cos'è Fratelli d'Italia? È l'inno nazionale, Gigio! Viva l'Italia.
So even the grandmas, even the old people started learning Italian. Everyone started learning Italian just by watching. Like nobody was learning Italian through books, okay? Just by watching the TV.
Communist Albania during the Cold War was unique in its level of isolation and dreariness. Albania's dictator Enver Hoxha viewed any form of popular entertainment as anti-communist, and any interaction with the outside world as evil.
Enver Hoxha presided over a state with no religion, no taxes and no private cars.
Nothing less than full-blown Stalinism would do. Under Hoxha, Albania was entirely isolated.
Oh wow, I know Abbas. I did stand-up comedy with him in San Francisco. Abbas? Who is Abbas?
A hermit kingdom with absolutely no connection to the outside world. They were even more isolated than like North Korea today. They had no visitors, and regular Albanian citizens were not permitted to leave the country.
For nearly half a century, time seems to have stood still in Albania. It's the poorest country in Europe and has so far managed to repress large-scale...
Are you a stand-up comedian? Biodegradable rubber ducky. Are you a stand-up comedian? A failed one? No such thing as a failed stand-up comedian. No such thing.
...popular opposition.
Hoxha died in 1985 after 41 years in power and was given a...
Then I started grifting on the left. You can't grift on the left either, man. Like, if you were grifting, you would be grifting on the right because that's where the money's at. That's where the money's at.
Our depressing state funeral.
I'm not saying leftists are poor, okay? I'm not saying leftists are poor. I'm just saying that guys like Nick Fuentes, people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, they make a lot of money by saying extremely bigoted things.
As the sun rises over Albania's capital city, Tirana, nothing immediately suggests that this isolated nation is preparing to escape from the time capsule in which its leaders chose to place it.
His successor had a slightly different vibe and wanted to turn things around for Albania, so he began opening up the country.
Europe's last Marxist state, Albania, has unveiled a package of human rights reforms.
By the end of 1990, communism was overthrown, and Albania was suddenly a capitalist democracy.
In fact, the last bastion of Stalinism has gone, just like the last statue of the former Soviet dictator.
The thing is, though, Albanians had been far more isolated than any of the other new capitalist democracies of the 1990s. They were unique in that they had virtually no understanding of the way that capitalism actually works. The country had no market economics or private investment at all. Their capitalistic savvy was limited to what they could glean from Mike Bongiorno and other Italian game show hosts. As a result, no population in modern history has been more vulnerable to the arrival of a wallet inspector than early 1990s Albanians.
A wallet inspector?
Oh, here you go. I believe that's all in order.
I can't believe that worked.
So, let me introduce you.
Oh, classic. Oh my gosh.
To the wallet inspector.
Via. Grande pattinamento di ruote, molto
In 1996, Albanians still mostly watched Italian TV. Their new democratic government hadn't quite sorted out their own.
Oh yes, Walsam. We've reacted to this guy's stuff a couple of times. It's good. It's good. It's quality. It's still a highly whitewashed perspective, but some of it is really, really good. It's entertaining too. It's good.
High quality TV yet.
Dicevo 5.800 metri, 4
So they watched Formula One with Italian commentary. And during the broadcast, they would have seen advertising for the company called Vifa on the edge of the track, both at the Italian and San Marino Grand Prix. But here's the thing, Vifa was not an Italian company. It was an Albanian company. More specifically, it was a financial company which promised a high rate of return on investments made by Albanian people. Well, actually, high rate of return might be underselling it a bit. If you invested your money into Vifa, they promised those savings would grow by 8% every month.
Whoa! Ponzi scheme! Let's go, Albania!
This was in a year where the S&P 500 global benchmark was going up by about 1.9% per month, but Vifa was promising 8%. This meant if you could raise, say, $100,000 to put into the Vifa scheme in January, by the following January you would have $250,000 in your account. But Vifa wasn't alone with these wild deals. Vifa's competitors were offering even better rates, up to 47% per month. At that rate, your $100,000 investment would become $10 million in a year. Now, if you've grown up with a healthy skepticism of get-rich-quick schemes, you're unlikely to be fooled by this kind of insane promise. But in Albania, where they didn't really have a whole lot of skepticism about these sorts of things, it seemed like the promise of capitalism had come true.
1 in 3 Albanians are said to have invested their life savings in the get-rich-quick schemes.
It was actually more than half. According to some reports, it was 2/3 of the entire adult population.
Holy
Albanians
shit.
dumped their life savings into these schemes. They mortgaged their homes. They sold their possessions, all to raise as much capital as possible to put into their investment accounts.
Oh my
Now,
gosh.
it probably won't surprise you to hear that these schemes did not actually deliver on those returns. They were nothing more than Ponzi schemes, where early investors' returns were provided by a direct transfer of money from those who entered into the scheme later.
Hey, Danielle.
In just a few years, the frenzy of investment into these schemes had put Albania's fledgling economy in an extremely dangerous position.
Right for 1 month.
By mid-1996, international financial agencies were starting to panic, sending delegations to Albania to personally warn President Sali Berisha that he was on the verge of a catastrophe. By then, more than half of Albania's GDP had been invested in the schemes. At the end of that year, the schemes started to collapse.
Albania was the most closed, most backward of Europe's communist countries. And now it's finding that the path to capitalism is not always paved with gold.
One after another, the schemes announced that actually they couldn't keep paying out their promised returns because all the money was gone.
The whole country has been shaken by the collapse of a number of pyramid savings schemes. The government is being blamed for not protecting its people. Even...
Bro, he rug pulled his whole country. Oh my gosh. He rug pulled the whole country. Oh! He rug pulled them so bad they wanted communism again.
Of profiting from the schemes.
The government is absolutely not involved.
The country looked on the verge of collapse. An exodus began with thousands of Albanians boarding boats to try and get to Italy. People were becoming desperate.
This woman had sold everything she had and sank the proceeds into one of Albania's pyramid investment schemes. When the scheme collapsed, she'd lost the lot. Now her child would be going to an orphanage.
Those who stayed were angry. and a protest movement began, focused on one particular town on Albania's coast.
In the troubled port town of Vlora, these protests have become a daily event.
I see biodegradable.
Last week it exploded in anger, and 4 people died amid chaotic scenes.
Vlora, as in the town that Jared Kushner has been flying in and out of while he looked for resort opportunities.
And we were immediately drawn to where they were building an airport in Vlora. And obviously a country is going to build an airport by the coast in the place that they think is the most beautiful.
Yes, that Vlora. But back in the 90s, Vlora was a very different place.
Vlora is the seat of the anti-government rebellion.
Within a few weeks of the collapse of the schemes in early 1997, the town was under mob rule.
Angry protesters have taken control of several Albanian towns.
I have been working for 7 years and I lose everything.
I stand in solidarity with these protesters. I stand in solidarity with these protesters.
Globalized intifada.
I lose everything. So now the point is that we don't want any political solution. I want my money.
The people of Vlora weren't satisfied. They wanted President Berisha to resign too. They decided to make that clear by paying a visit to his villa just outside Vlora.
Looters have descended on his summer palace, stripping it of anything they can carry away.
Albania appears to be on the...
Yes! Redistribution of wealth! Let's go! Woo! Let's go, Albania! Oh my goodness! Imagine this at Mar-a-Lago. Albania vision.
The verge of civil war tonight, with a growing anti-government insurrection in the south. The focus is the Adriatic port of Vlora.
Protesters, or I guess rebels by this stage, began...
Who would pour everything into investment? People who don't know how capitalism works. I mean, Albania, in this story, you should watch this video from the beginning, Ice Cream Emperor. Albanians were so shut off, they didn't even know what capitalism was, and they got rug pulled. It's like NFTs on steroids. Hey, Vincy Bell, welcome.
Preparations to fight the government by looting army weapons depots and gathering hundreds of thousands of firearms.
Just down the road, we met 2 young men who willingly displayed the spoils they took from the local army stores a few days ago. A trusty Kalashnikov and a couple of grenades.
As the rebels clashed with the authorities, President Berisha began making concessions to his opponents, hoping that it would calm everything down.
The key post of Prime Minister has gone to the main...
Luckily, I got educated by Wu-Tang Financial.
in opposition socialists in a new government of national unity.
Then Albania's neighbours got involved. Italy was appointed to lead a UN peacekeeping delegation to Albania.
We have a moral duty. They are neighbor. They are in the Mediterranean area. They are a problem for us.
Fortunately, a full-blown civil war was averted. But the Albanian people remained largely destitute. Making matters worse, the enormous quantity of guns that had been looted from the army were still at large.
Looted weapons are being used in robberies, traditional blood feuds, and to settle arguments.
They say they'll give them up when they're sure there's someone in charge they trust. I'll decide when I give these weapons back, he says. I won't do it just because some politician tells me to.
Just 7 years after...
Bro, that is just incredibly based, eh? I'll give this gun up. Oh my gosh.
After Albanians won their freedom from communist dictatorial rule, unregulated capitalism had virtually destroyed the country.
Albania developed a reputation for chaos, people and weapons smuggling, and as a hub of international organised crime, run by a mafia operating in the shadows.
The country's future was extremely unclear. What was clear to most Albanians, though, was that get-rich-quick schemes could not be trusted, but there was some hope for them yet.
A lot of Albanians scramble to survive, but their country is on a hopeful path of integration with the European Union. The Land of Eagles is a candidate to become a member.
The group of countries which joined the EU in 2004 had all seen boosts to their economies, and Albania wanted a piece of that. But applying to become a member of the European Union isn't an easy process. You have to do a lot of work on yourself before they'll let you in.
The biggest part of the project was to support these countries in their efforts to meet European standards.
The work on strengthening the rule of law, the work on fighting the corruption and strengthening the independence of judiciary is ongoing work.
When Albania applied to become a member of the EU in 2009, the average length of time it took from application to membership was about 8 years. But after 4 years, they had made no progress at all. In fact, talks had stalled entirely. This was mostly not Albania's fault. The global financial crisis had made the EU suddenly hyper-cautious about admitting new countries to the Union. But still, Albanians were frustrated by the government's inability to make progress, so they started looking for a man of action to...
Funny how Yanis Varoufakis is the face of the global financial crisis in this video. Why did they show Yanis, bro? Why did they show Yanis Varoufakis? I feel like that was a little bit of propaganda right there.
Take over.
His name is Edi Rama, and he's on a mission.
Edi Rama has been at the forefront of Albanian politics ever since he became mayor of the capital Tirana in 2000.
By any measure, Edi is no ordinary mayor.
No.
A rap-singing former basketballer who once lived the life of a painter in Paris.
He talked about the first time he walked into Tirana City Hall as being like walking into a bureaucratic nightmare.
When I entered here, I felt like entering a Kafka book. You know, it was like amazing. I entered here and I said, "My God, what I'll do here."
He said the haze of cigarette smoke through the halls made the place feel like it was filled with a fog that slowed everything down. He banned smoking in City Hall, which was kind of a surprise because most of what he says kind of sounds like it's coming from a 70s bohemian with a cigarette lazily hanging from between his fingers.
I never have been interested in the materialistic side of life, but in...
Yeah, he lied.
The other side, which is...
Raf, kia ora. I don't know if I said hi to you, Raf.
I
I'm
don't
so
feel
sorry.
that art is an
I
angelic
hope you're well, Raf.
work.
Good to see you.
And I don't feel that politics is a devil work, by definition. Devil is everywhere, and angel is everywhere.
Okay, Michelangelo, if you say so. Rama's most famous policy was painting the drab Cold War-era buildings of Tirana in bright colours.
With a painter turned politician as mayor, the city's drab architecture has had a makeover.
Did he fix Tirana? No, not entirely. But when the country was looking for a man of action as the process of joining the EU dragged on, this is the guy they picked to replace the longtime leader, Sali Berisha.
Albania's opposition leader, Edi Rama, has claimed a landslide election victory. Rama is calling on Prime Minister Sali Berisha to concede defeat.
A big part of Rama's strategy as Prime Minister was to promote tourism.
Albania, go your own way.
Tourist visitors to Albania have quadrupled since he took office, up from about 3 million per year in 2013 to more than 12 million now. But while he's pushed hard to expedite the process of joining the EU, they still aren't a member of the club.
Oh my goodness.
Shared, you cared.
An anonymous gifter gave Nothingness a tier 1 sub. Oh, thank you, anonymous gifter. You went there in 2013? Nice. And we hit our sub goal. Thank you so much. I think it's like sub goal of 10. Thank you, anonymous gifter. Thank you.
Albania remains one of the poorest countries in the region, which is why when a very, very big stack of money arrived on a yacht with multiple libraries, Edi Rama was very, very interested.
One of the nights there, Prime Minister Rama came to the boat.
Apparently, Jared Kushner in particular was quite taken by Rama's charms.
One of the cool things I was attracted to is the fact that he seemed like a very skilled politician, as a very strong and smart leader, but also the fact that he was an artist. I thought it'd be very cool to see what a country really led and built by an artist could be, somebody with amazing taste and great creativity.
And it turns out that Rama was pretty taken with Kushner too, or at least he was pretty taken with the eye-watering amount of money on offer, which is why Rama's government rushed through approval for Ivanka and Jared's proposed developments. He declared that Albania needs luxury tourism like a desert needs water.
You're in Ethiopia right now? Have you lived in Ethiopia for a long time?
Cutting red tape and designating Kushner's development company as a strategic investor, Rama has cleared the way for a reported $4.7 billion, 4.5 square kilometre resort. It includes more than 1,000 villas and townhouses, 1,400 apartments, a casino, a golf course, a water park, and a marina designed for mooring super yachts. Boats. The development is the size of an international airport, and it's being planned for a site that currently is an untouched nature reserve. Rama says the tourists who visit this massive 5-star resort will inject enormous amounts of money into the Albanian economy. The trouble is that a lot of Albanians really don't support the regulatory shortcuts that have made this possible, including one very famous Albanian.
We can't talk about the history of Albania without talking a little bit about Albania today, and I'm sure that a lot of people listening will have heard about all the protests that are happening right now.
This is the internet.
Dua Lipa, I didn't realize she was Albanian.
National pop star Dua Lipa, who is an Albanian citizen, talking on her podcast about the protests against Jared and Ivanka's proposed luxury resort.
I have to say I find it so inspiring to see how much people really care. You know, day after day, they're like hitting the streets because the government has opened up this part of a beautiful nature reserve to a high-end beachfront development.
The beautiful nature reserve is the lagoon next to the city of Vlore and the island a few kilometres off the coast. Environmental groups consider this lagoon to be an incredibly important habitat for endangered.
Oh, you must have missed all the drooling Hassan does about her. Really? Oh, wow.
Animals like the loggerhead turtle and the monk seal. It's also a key nesting spot for flamingos while they're migrating between Europe and Africa. The protest movement...
To be fair, though, Dua Lipa is... I don't blame him.
Movement against the development has become known as the Flamingo Revolution. For Dua Lipa, the concern is that the government is not acting in the best interests of the Albanian people or the flamingos.
What I actually find concerning is the principle that the government could just change the law to remove the environmental protection without any kind of public consultation.
Now, Ivanka Trump disagrees. She believes that if they clear 5 kilometres of protected natural habitat in a tasteful architectural way, then it's actually fine.
We developed the opportunity to help realize its potential and transform it, but with a lot of restraint and care, because the land is so beautiful that really the architecture has to be fully integrated into it, almost rise from it.
I guess the flamingos could just book some villas to stay at during their migration. For the protesters, though, it's not really about the turtles or the seals or the flamingos. It's about the government prioritising what they see as another shiny get-rich-quick scheme over the...
No, bro, it's all of those things. What do you mean it's not about the fucking wildlife? It is about the wildlife. It's about all of it. It's about all of it.
Well-being of the country.
This prime minister should leave, and it's not about any more flamingos. It's about healthcare. It's about education. It's about people getting poorer and poorer every day. It's about people leaving their country because they don't want to live here.
We need to take Albania back and to make it great again.
We are...
To make Albania great again, bro. Oh my gosh. Let's go communism. Let's go communism. Do they want a communist dictator back? What? Do they want dictatorship? Damn.
Here for justice. We are here to destroy this corrupt system.
The reason they think that the entire system is corrupt is because support for Jared and Ivanka's project is actually bipartisan. Prime Minister Rama supports it, obviously, but so does the opposition leader, Sali Berisha, the guy who was in charge of the country during the pyramid scheme.
Oh my gosh, that dude is still fucking alive? That dude is still the opposition party? Come on, Albania, bro. What the fuck?
Era through the 1990s. So, here's where we've ended up. Both the opposition leader and the prime minister, two veterans of Albanian politics who've been at war with each other for years, who otherwise agree on almost nothing, agree on this. The thousands of protesters who are taking to the streets night after night don't really have a voice apart from their own. And yet they can see a pattern emerging. 30 years ago, they were sold the idea that they could live like the fabulous Italians on their TV screens if they just handed over all their savings. Their government facilitated it, despite warnings from foreign financial organisations that they were doing something crazy. This time, the idea they're being sold is that a relationship with the Trump family is a quick route to prosperity. All they have to do is hand over their land and a bit of their sovereignty. Once again, the government is not doing anything to stop it, despite warnings from foreign bureaucrats. The difference is, this time, the Albanian people aren't naive. They have real concerns that they're being sold another get-rich-quick scheme. And this time, they are not buying it.
Beautiful. Well done. And I think the whole Kushner, Ivanka, Trump schemes have been completely exposed as well. The plan they put out for the future of Gaza, they would have all seen it. The plan... Well
done, my boy.
देखा मैंने कितना अच्छा डांस करता है?
Hey Amira, how are you? Welcome. The plans they've put out. What did?
Fool me once. Shame on you.
I have that one.
If fool me, we can't get fooled.
I have it. Biodegradable. I have it. Hey, Amy, welcome. Fool me, can't get fooled. Yeah. So, I think the world. I don't think our political class realize how much this genocide has impacted public opinion around the world. I think people are seeing through their government because it's simple, right? Like, if you can't respect human rights out there, how are you going to respect my rights here? It's a simple question. If you can't respect human rights out there, how the fuck are you going to respect my rights here? People have connected the dots. People have connected the dots. These are simple dots to connect, but they've always been obscured in so many different ways. They've been made hard to connect. But people understand that foreign policy equals, at some stage, domestic policy. If they're okay with genocide over there, they're okay with taking your human rights locally over here. And this is why you can't sleep on foreign policy. You just can't sleep on it. You can't sleep on foreign policy, everybody. You got to give a fuck about foreign policy. If you don't think your foreign policy is as important as your domestic policy, then, well, you'll get ICE arresting brown and black people and putting them in concentration camps. Because America and the American public turned away from the West Bank, Gaza, and Palestine in general for so many generations. And now Palestine is coming home to America. You can't ignore foreign policy. You just can't. Okay, now let's move on to what's going on in Gaza with the Hamas disarmament bullshit, because Israel is still carpet bombing Gaza. So let's listen into some opinions. Let's dissect it. But it's quite an important development, one that I don't think is what it seems. I mean, nothing Donald Trump does is what it seems. So let's crack into this one.
I would love your thoughts on a demilitarized Gaza Strip. This breaking news, though, from CBS suggesting the president has yet to give final go orders for a strike, but they are looking at what would be one of the harshest bombing campaigns to date. If he does green light this mission, will it make a difference?
Yeah.
Well, let me link the two. If the CBS reports are true, that the Israelis and the Americans will resume and escalate and expand their target sets to energy infrastructure.
Oh shit! Okay, this is Iran. Sorry, this is the disarmament. Sorry, we'll look at the Iran one next, but this is the disarmament story. Apologies.
President Trump claims his border peace has reached a historic agreement which will disarm Hamas inside Gaza, a development welcomed by the Foreign Minister Ed Miliband. Now, the US president made the announcement in a post on Truth Social, saying the deal would shift control of Gaza to a new Palestinian Authority and withdraw Israeli troops from the region. This afternoon, an Israeli political source has told Sky News the IDF will only withdraw from the Yellow Line when Hamas undergoes a genuine disarmament. And I'm joined now by our defence and security analyst, Michael Clark.
I'm joined now by the barely alive cadaver, Michael Clark.
Professor, is this a big move toward peace in Gaza?
Not really, Mari. I mean, we should be grateful that those words have been said, and Miliband has welcomed them, as he should do. But none of us should be holding our breath on this. I mean, Hamas, under its new leadership, Khalil al-Hayya, who's only been leader now for a couple of weeks, who's stepped into the role. Before that, it was a sort of collective leadership to try and protect them from assassination. Now,
sorry, the reason why I said that about Michael Clark is me and him have a thing where Michael Clark just feels like he's every day just kind of dying a little bit on the inside because of America losing in the Strait of Hormuz.
Reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
And with Israel just escalating and not really achieving anything. So Michael Clark is just slowly rotting from the inside because he's ultimately a pro-Western commentator, and he hates what's going on in the world. It's awesome. It's awesome to listen to him. He's depressed. He hates life at the moment, but he just keeps turning up. They keep like reanimating him every day to bring him on live TV.
Al-Hayya won't last. I don't think he'll be alive that long, but he's obviously going to take his chances. He's lost all of his family anyway, and his brothers and his sons and his wife. So he probably.
Oh shit! Did you hear what he just said? Oh my gosh! Michael Clark just put a target on Al-Hayya's head.
I don't think he'll be alive that long, but he's obviously going to take his chances. He's lost all of his family anyway, and his brothers and his sons and his wife. So he's probably quite fatalistic about it. But it looks as if he has taken a decision to actually try and put Israel on the back foot. The mediators are always talking to Israel and Hamas. You've got to agree this, agree that. About none of us should be holding up.
Rewind. This is what I'm talking. This is why I call him a reanimated cadaver, a reanimated white supremacist cadaver.
breath on this. I mean, Hamas, under its new leadership, Khalil al-Hayya, who's only been leader now for a couple of weeks, who's stepped into the role. Before that, it was a sort of collective leadership to try and protect them from assassination. Now, al-Hayya won't last, I don't think he'll be alive that long, but he's obviously going to take his chance. He's lost all of his family anyway, and his brothers and his sons and his wife.
Wow.
So he's probably quite fatalistic about it. But it looks as if he has taken a decision to actually try and put Israel on the back foot. The mediators are always talking to Israel and Hamas. You've got to agree this, agree that. About 3 weeks ago now, Hamas agreed that they would step away from government if there was somebody to hand over to. And
are we getting Cheeto? Are we getting Cheeto dipped president related peeps out midterms? I think the Democrats are going to have a big win. It's just who the Democratic candidates will be. I think the Democrats are going through quite a transformational moment right now.
Now they've agreed under conditions that they will begin the process of disarmament. But disarmament never actually works as such. I mean, weapons are never disarmed. They're just sort of put out of use. They're never actually destroyed. No group actually gives all of its weapons in, and it can always get more if it needs to. But they can be put beyond use. Mary, the most successful process of decommissioning in modern history was Northern Ireland after the Good Friday agreements. That really worked, and it took 12 years to get to a point where they could say, right, that process is now finished. And it had a lot going for it politically in terms of the two sides wanting to make a new deal. In this case, decommissioning or disarmament would have very little going for it, because both sides say, well, we'll only do it under conditions, and they both stress all the conditions that have got to be met.
Well, what are the conditions that are preventing both sides from agreeing this?
Well, there's quite a lot of them. I mean, one condition is that, as Hamas is saying, there's the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza. That exists, but it hasn't been able to do anything yet. And that's got to create some sort of arrangement whereby there can be an independent Palestinian technocratic government. That doesn't exist. And there's got then to be a peacekeeping organisation, a peacekeeping force has got to go into Gaza. That hasn't been created, and it's not clear it ever could be created. Then there's got to be economic reconstruction, and all of that's got to start. All of those things have got to happen together, big moving parts. And then the biggest moving part of all is that the Israelis have to begin to withdraw. Now, this is the Israeli line that they withdrew to under phase one of the ceasefire that was agreed last October, and they withdrew to that line. It was pretty clear they weren't going to go much further because that was a very well-fortified line at the time. But since then, the IDF have actually taken more of that. That line represented about 51% of Gaza. Since then, they've gone towards more like 60% of Gaza. They've moved that line inside that area. So all of this area on this side of the line is controlled by the IDF. This is their security zone. The Gazans can't live there. All the Gazans are pushed into the other.
See how he says Gazans? This is. I want you to be aware. I mean, people who are new here, this is mainly for you. I want you to be aware that people like Michael Clark use Gazans so that to write out Palestinian identity completely. What he should be saying is Palestinians from Gaza. But they've now come up with this new way to describe Palestinians in Gaza, Gazans, so that they don't have to use the word Palestine. Even in narrative, even in spoken word, they are writing out Palestine in real time. Don't forget it and don't play into it. If you call them Gazans, then you are playing that same game. If Palestinians in Gaza want to call themselves Gazans, that's their choice. But we on the outside, we cannot play this game. We can't get sucked into calling Palestinians in Gaza Gazans. It's writing out a whole identity, and this is what these newscasters are doing. They're being given instruction to do that too. It's BBC, Sky News, all of these mainstream media outlets are horrendous.
40%. So this line now has been moved towards a sort of 60%. And most recently, we've seen that the Israelis have started to construct berms, which is a sort of a mound, can be created by bulldozers. The military use them all the time. And the Israelis have constructed berms. So pre-15th of July, Sky's data and forensics have seen berms all the way along this line. And up to this week, they've seen another line of berms. Now, this is about 5 miles of fortified mounds of earth, which the Israelis have pushed forward in order to make themselves defensible back on their own line. There's about 14 miles of berms all the way along Gaza, and Gaza's only about 25, 26 miles long, so at least half of it is now covered in these makeshift defences which the Israelis are putting up.
The Republicans are evil and need to go. For people outside of the U.S., Stargazer, the Republicans and Democrats look exactly the same. For people inside the U.S., they may look different, but to people outside the U.S., I mean, American imperialism has the same oppressive face. Kamala Harris mass murdered children in Gaza. Like, what's the difference? I'm really keen to hear from you.
Netanyahu has said he will occupy 70% of Gaza, and of course his right-wingers say we've got to occupy the whole of Gaza. So far from an Israeli withdrawal, the Israelis are actually creating more territory, and this is what is an important point. On this side of the Israeli line, originally, this is Rafah. This is the place that really worries the Israelis, because Rafah is the city which the Hamas it was their main base, really. It was the base from which they were getting all their aid from Egypt, across, in the tunnels coming across from Egypt.
Bro, he just lied. He just lied. This guy is such a horrible human being. Even after so much genocide, he still manufactures consent for what Israel is doing. That's why I despise this dude.
Egypt and Sinai Peninsula. The Israelis are determined that they will control anything that happens in Rafah. Most evidence is that Rafah is a bit of a ghost town these days. Certainly the Gazans can't really go there. So the whole of the Gaza Strip is being squeezed, and 2.3 million people are now going to be squeezed into about a third, or 30% of the whole territory, and maybe even less than that. Before the crisis began, I checked on the figures that Gaza's density was the same density as central London before this crisis. So now it's probably about 3 times the density of central London as things exist. All of those conditions make it almost impossible to imagine, all those moving parts, that neither Israel nor Hamas will really make much progress over this idea of disarmament. But it's what they've said, so let's call their bluff and see if they will do it.
Yeah, I just think people like this guy.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
People like this guy are just, it's subtle. The bigotry, the racism, the genocidal rhetoric, it's subtle if you don't know what he's talking about. But when you've like observed 3 years of genocide, it becomes so clear how biased, white supremacist all of this rhetoric really is. Western media has failed the test of humanity. It just has, and it continues to. And people like Michael Clark are the face of that failure. It's horrendous. This guy is such an evil person in this, like, you know, decrepit sort of weak old man's body. The mind of this guy's mind is just so incredibly evil, because he subtly writes Palestinians out of history, and people won't recognize it. But the more you listen to Western media in general, and understand how the media has manufactured consent for genocide, the more you'll realize how evil these people are. They have no humanity left. They're just tools of an oppressive imperialist system, and they love it. Okay, now let's go to what's happening in Iran, and I think this is a good opinion, but again, very whitewashed in so many different ways, but it's a solid opinion. Let's listen in to how war is going to spread And I think this is the right analysis too.
I would love your thoughts on a demilitarized Gaza Strip. This breaking news, though, from CBS suggesting the president has yet to give final go orders for a strike, but they are looking at what would be one of the harshest bombing campaigns to date. If he does green light this mission, will it make a difference?
Well, let me link the two. If the CBS reports are true, that the Israelis and the Americans will resume and escalate and expand their target sets to energy infrastructure, then several things are going to happen. You're going to get retaliatory strikes by the Iranians on Gulf infrastructure. To some degree, they've done that already, but we haven't seen the sort of massive destruction focused on energy entrepôts, pipelines, refineries, some of it. That's number one. Number two, if the Israelis get involved, it's almost inevitable that they will resume their strikes against Hezbollah, and Hezbollah, acting in concert with Iran, is going to strike northern Israel.
Notice how he doesn't say Israel acting in concert with the United States will bomb Hezbollah. Hezbollah in concert with Iran will bomb Israel. You know, like, he won't say that. He won't say Israel in concert with the United States. This is not just Israel acting as an independent actor. It is with the backing of the West, and we have to understand this. This is how they write history very differently in real time.
Pro-Iranian Iraqi militias will get involved in this fray. The Houthis already have demonstrated their capacity to block a second checkpoint. So yes, inflationary cycles, the price of oil is going to skyrocket. And the real question here, you could forget any progress in Gaza, which frankly, given the circumstances, as far as I see it, was a sort of thought experiment anyway, because Hamas is not going to significantly demilitarize until the Israelis commit to withdrawal, and the Israelis are not going to commit to withdrawal. So these strikes, if they're true, the CBS report, will focus on the main event, which is not Gaza. It's how to extricate the United States from this war. The core question is, will this ramping up an expansion of the target set change Iran's calculations on the core issues? Will it produce enough pain to produce a different Iranian approach to the Straits of Hormuz? Or is it simply going to convince them that this is an existential struggle that is designed to change the regime and to basically harden their positions? I think we really are at a moment here that could see a major and drastic expansion of this war on the weekend.
So regional war could be the end result if the president gives the go-ahead for this, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it already, but we haven't seen all of its component parts.
It's not just regional war, you dunces. It's not going to be restricted to the Middle East. It's not. This is now global, a global a global conflagration. Oh my God. Conflagration. Wow, my tongue just stopped working for a second. It's global. It's impacting economies. So, obviously, as things become more desperate, things are going to escalate, not just in the Middle East. It's going to escalate. That was convoluted, yeah. It's going to escalate globally, okay? It is going to escalate globally. You have to understand, this is... Like, these guys are making it seem like this is just Iran and Gaza and whatever. It's not. It's going to be global, man. There is no escalation cycle that ends with America taking more control of the Strait of Hormuz or anything else.
Reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
All of this, if America and Israel make the decision to bomb more and create more chaos, They're making this decision knowing that they cannot win. They're doing this just to cause more damage and harm.
Energized and activated at the same time. The Israeli-Lebanese front. Iran striking Israeli population centers. The Israelis responding with their own ballistic missile inventories against Iran. Iran striking Gulf civilian infrastructure and energy infrastructure. The Houthis trying to close the Bab el-Mandeb, which is the second choke point. I mean, we haven't seen all of that. And if that's what the president wants to visit on the Iranians, I think we all better be prepared for what's to follow.
Well, this could be a heck of a weekend, Aaron David Miller. Should every Middle Eastern nation that's been struck so far expect to be hit again in that world? I'm talking about Egypt. I'm talking about Kuwait, Jordan, UAE.
Yeah, it's going to pull everybody in. This is what Netanyahu's been trying to do, is to pull as many countries into this as possible. And America's playing into it. And America's doing it knowing fully what is at stake here.
This would be a regional war pretty quickly in the scenario that you're
anywhere
outlining.
that there's an American military base. Jordan, Kuwait.
Anywhere that there's an American military base. Like literally the whole world. Bro, America, just go back to where you came from. Oh my God. Stay the fuck in your borders, America. Why are you doing this, man?
The Iranians have spared, at least over the next past few weeks, the Emiratis. We have a very important air base there.
And Iran has the missiles to do all of that?
Further strikes on U.S. military bases. But again,
Iran has all the missiles it needs. China is going to arm Iran to the teeth. Russia is going to also combine fronts if anything happens. North Korea is going to enter. China may go for Taiwan and close off the straits over there, close off the waterway there. Like there is no good ending here. There is no good ending. The whole world loses. But I think this is what the West wants, because the West cannot fucking stand an equitable world for all. The West can't, because if white supremacy can't have the whole world, then nobody can. That is the ego play here. It's insane, guys. Like, everyone can see this. The trajectory is just this is going to be so much bigger if there is a world war. Okay, let's just play this out. 60 million people dead in World War II. This will be so much bigger than World War II. So much bigger, like eye-wateringly bigger. It's going to wipe out so much. We can't keep pushing towards more war. We've got to stop this. It's insane.
The Gulf is the point of leverage for the Iranians. And I wonder, to the degree to which the administration is briefing and preparing the Gulf states for what's coming, unless this, guys, is just some elaborate psyops on the part of the administration, the latest effort to somehow press the Iranians into believing that if they don't give up their core position on the straits, they want to turn it into an ATM machine, that they'll have to use any number of the president's expletives. They're going to be hit very seriously, unless this is psychological ops. But frankly, I don't think rhetoric will do it. If that's what the administration wants to do, to escalate along the lines that CBS is indicating.
Guys, this will be very different for Europe in particular than World War II, okay? Which is why I honestly think, when countries are saying it's going to be Iran that launches the first nuke, it will absolutely not be Iran. Israel is a very strong candidate, but Europe is also an extremely strong candidate for a nuclear launch, because again, White supremacy will continue to say, if we can't have the world, nobody can. And Europe is going to be pressured. I don't think global war is going to be the same for Europe as it was in World War II. They don't have the colonies. They don't have brown and black bodies to throw at the problem. They don't control the world anymore. Europe will have to throw its own people at the problem. This is it. Like, what are they doing? Just peace, bro. Just step the fuck away from the Strait of Hormuz. Get out of it, Trump. Just be okay in the fact that the world is going to be more equitable for all. The West doesn't control the world anymore. Just let it go. That is the choice here. Trump doesn't want to let it go. The West doesn't want to let it go. And this isn't just about Trump. This is about an imperialist machine, a framework that has been in the world for 600 years. This is white supremacy at the core of it.
And involving the Israelis in this, which the president, I think, had been reluctant to do all along. We're in for a whole new sort of, we've turned the page in a different kind of war.
Well, I guess we'll have to see what this weekend brings. To return to the subject of Israel and Hamas and Gaza, Aaron, you were describing how Hamas, before de-arming itself, wants to make sure Israel withdraws. Israel has its own conditions on that. It seems, not to belittle it, but that this is a real chicken and egg kind of issue in terms of what ultimately has to come first. So what's the likelihood that this actually works out as the president has described?
I think it's, frankly, very unlikely. The basic problem all along with all of these ceasefires and well-intentioned agreements on Gaza is that the basic challenge is to reconcile this Israeli government's vision for Gaza with Hamas.
Not just the Israeli government's vision, Israeli society. It's about reconciling why Israel was set up in the first place and why Israel was built by the West as an outpost of Western imperialism in the Middle East. Like, those are the questions that need to be asked. And the West will never, ever confront that. It will not confront any of that shit.
Hamas's vision. And frankly, over the last 3 years, every ceasefire has essentially cratered or not been able to move forward and expand because of this problem. And Hamas is, remember, you have Hamas tunnel infrastructure, which is probably, the Israelis have destroyed quite a bit, but it may still be, 40% as long as the New York subway system. You have Hamas laboratories making IEDs. You have Hamas weapons factories, homegrown to be sure. You have smuggling. Hamas's mission is struggle. And also inflicting through terror a level of pain on the Israelis that on October 7th they have never experienced before. And Hamas is going to be reluctant to give all of that up. I think they want to.
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? Now the Palestinian struggle has been condensed to Hamas. That is Western media rewriting Palestinian identity right there. This guy is a shameless bigot. And he's rewriting Palestinian identity there. He's rewriting the horrible injustices that have taken place well before Hamas was even a thing. You know, this is how they rewrite history. It's fucking insane.
Throw the ball into the Israeli court to see whether or not Donald Trump couldn't or wouldn't press Netanyahu to withdraw. But if Trump is now enlisting Israel as a partner in a ramped-up military campaign, the last thing he's going to want to do is to try to pressure the Israelis to withdraw from Gaza. And the Israelis, if in fact you do see this escalation, will be battening down the hatches.
Hey, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Their own protection and the prospects of additional terror strikes.
You have the most sick person on the planet as president? No, bro. America has been sick for a very long time. Like, America killed 3 million people, 2+ million people in Vietnam and Cambodia, millions in Korea. America murdered so many across the Middle East, have murdered so many across the Middle East for so long. Like, this is not new for America, Stargazer. Trump is just the latest version, but America has been America for a long time. This is not new.
Throughout the region, by the way, against our assets as well.
I don't know how wide you're willing to open the aperture here in our lens, Aaron, but there was an event this week that caught a lot of people by surprise when Ukraine decided to strike an Iranian vessel in the Caspian Sea. Should we be including actions like this when Iran decides to make good on its retribution list?
I mean, possibly, but the Iranians are going to be spread pretty thin, particularly if the Israelis join this fight right now. And I think, look, the IRGC, the guys running the railroad, the guys who control the guns, the money, the oil, they now believe, and if we escalate, and I suspect the president may well, that this will for them mean what they have thought all along: regime change. They're out to break the regime. And if that's the case, I suspect they're going to want to double down and drill down in order to protect their assets and inflict the maximum amount of pain that they can on the points.
Yeah, see, Iranian struggle is being condensed down to the IRGC. Palestinian struggle is being condensed down to Hamas. This is all minimization of what the real struggle is about. They're minimizing these people's fight for liberation for so many generations. It's people like this guy. It's people like this guy who won't acknowledge what white supremacy has done and continues to do to the world. It is denialism. It is writing other people's identities out of history. It's what white supremacy has done for so long. But only this time, it's all being broadcast live. And we all see it. We all see it. We all see it. We see what's happening. And none of this is just going to be brushed under the table anymore. And that's the thing. This narrative has fallen. See, this guy considers himself a liberal, right? He's like, oh, I despise Trump. And Trump has failed in Iran, but and I hate the way how he's gone about Iran, is what they'll say, what people like him will say. But the reason why he's disappointed isn't because Trump is bombing Iran. The reason he's disappointed is Trump is not winning. They all want to bomb Iran. They all want the violence, even this guy. So be very careful about how they pretend to be your friend. You know the wolf that Malcolm X was talking about? The white liberals, they're the most dangerous thing in the world. This guy right here.
It's a vulnerability that they now control, which is to encourage. The Houthis are not on automatic pilot. They're not traditional proxies. But Iran, I suspect, if hit along the lines that the CBS report suggests, the Houthis will double down as well on the Straits. Pro-Iranian militias will begin to strike American assets in Iraq, and you're going to end up with an Israeli-Hezbollah war to boot.
Well, as we're having this conversation, Aaron, some fresh reporting just hit from the Wall Street.
The Lebanese struggle has been condensed and simplified into Hezbollah. The Palestinian struggle has been condensed into Hamas. The Yemeni struggle has been condensed to the Houthis. The Iranian struggle has been condensed to the IRGC. You see what's happening here? You see the minimization of these identities? They're no more the people of the land. They are, the West is making them alien on their own land. That's how these identities start to change. These are Lebanese people fighting for their land. These are Palestinian people resisting against occupation. These are Iranian people fighting for their freedom from a Western chokehold on the Iranian economy and Iranian self-determination. The Houthis are Yemenis fighting against Saudi Arabia, fighting against Western fighting against Western hegemony, to hold on to their own sovereignty. Like they've reduced all of these identities into organizations, and that's the real trick here. Don't fall into that trap. You see how this guy said the struggle, like Hamas just wants the struggle. It's not just a Hamas thing. The struggle isn't just about Hamas. The struggle is about Palestinian liberation, and they'll never acknowledge it because that's what white supremacy does. It writes identity out of discourse. And this guy is a tool of that same oppression. He is a white supremacist at the end of the day.
Wall Street Journal that President Trump has ordered a fresh attack on Iran that could begin as soon as this weekend and would last, according to U.S. officials that the Journal is citing here, a few days. Now, it's unclear whether or not this would be the energy infrastructure that CBS was reporting about, but the Wall Street Journal is saying here that Trump has ordered these fresh attacks. And I wonder what you will be watching for over the course of the next few days, if indeed this happens, the first signs of retaliation that you might expect. I know you talked about all of the different areas in which this could expand, but where is Iran likely to try to strike first?
Again, they can't vertically escalate. They can't match the U.S. or Israeli military missile for missile, drone for drone, but they can and they will focus on what folks call horizontal escalation. It's maximizing their geographic advantage and weaponizing geography. It will most likely be U.S. military bases, key Gulf states, if the administration goes after infrastructure. I'd also point out why would the administration want to put out, if in fact this is really a ramping up? Why do they want to say that this would go on for a few days? I mean, this is serious stuff, but I just, having worked for Republicans and Democrats and voted for Republicans and Democrats, I just sort of don't understand the public messaging here. It seems to suggest that the president really does.
That's what you don't understand, the public messaging, not the illegal nature of what the West continues to do and America continues to do, the mass murder of all of these fucking innocent children and just innocent people in general. Bro, these people are so cooked, man. They're so exposed on a global stage. Like, they're so easy to see through. It's crazy. They have zero empathy for black and brown people. These fucking... They're so evil. They're so evil. They can say shit like this and not even understand what they're saying.
Doesn't want, it's a few days rather than 2 weeks, which is the time frame that of choice for the administration and for the president. It's 2 weeks this, 2 weeks that. Why would he want to do that? If he really, really wants to get their attention, he'd leave it open-ended on the assumption that this is going to be a campaign that would last weeks, if not months. And it sort of suggests that there's a real risk aversion piece of this. Look, guys, I think the reality is we're stuck in a box. And the president has two options, neither of which he wants to accept. Number one is massive escalation, including perhaps the deployment of ground forces to seize Iranian territory, to use them as negotiation pawns in any further negotiation.
Hey, Perky, how are you? My day's been good, thank you. We're gonna go see Ginger at around 7 p.m. in the next hour and 50 minutes. We're gonna go catch up. We're gonna go see him. So I'll be able to provide an update in the evening live. So I'll be back in the evening after this live. But yeah, I'll be able to provide an update then.
He doesn't want to do that in a 4 or 5 month long campaign. The other, he doesn't want to allow the Iranians to basically control the straits. So he's not prepared to cut a deal, which gives them that advantage. So he's left with what you see, which is the middle option, which doesn't change Iran's calculation and won't.
Yeah, of course not. I mean, let's check. Oh my gosh, 26 minutes.
The widening war. Saudi Arabia and the U.S. team up to attack Iran-backed fighters in Iraq. The Iran-backed militia in Yemen opens up a new front.
King
the
Haile
war is
Selassie,
expanding, challenging
welcome.
peace talks and raising prices here at home.
Khadija,
What's
hello.
it all mean for the region and the U.S.?
Rachel, thank you for the share.
On Compass Points.
Isn't India a caste system and modified hates Muslims? Yeah, I mean, there's Hindu nationalism in India. Like, I mean, I would rather follow Hinduism. I don't know what you're saying, man. Like, I have no clue what dots you're connecting here. But yeah, there's fascist Hindu people who who are just like Zionists, who are weaponizing Hinduism to oppress minorities. Bro, I'm from New Zealand, buddy. Like, yeah, ethnically Indian, but it's like asking, I'm not the spokesperson for fucking Indian people, man. Would you be asking a white person in New Zealand if they're from fucking Scotland? What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you guys not understand the bigotry that comes out of your mouths? Well, I'm lucky to be in New Zealand. The fuck are you talking about? Bro. Fuck. The microaggressions are just everywhere today. It's so stupid. What the fuck do you mean native to New Zealand? What are you talking about, buddy? Why are you so interested? Do you want to know my sperm count?
Support for Compass Points has been provided by the Judy and Peter Bloom Kovler Foundation, Camilla and George Smith, the Dorney Koppel Foundation, the Gruber Family Foundation, and Cap and Margaret Ann Eschenroder. The Judy and Peter Bloom Kovler Foundation.
Nobody, you put me in a box. That is your bigotry. Stop looking at brown faces. Stop looking at brown faces and putting them in boxes. It doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make you look good, buddy. It just shows how fucking racist you are.
Upholding freedom by strengthening democracies at home and abroad.
No, this is my live, bro. You come in here, you racially profile me, and then you're asking me to chill out? Get the fuck out, bro.
Abroad.
You think
additional support is
FIFA
provided
deal
by Friends of the News Hour.
was PSYOP? Nah, bro. It was greed. Okay, what the fuck is this PBS? Okay, let's talk about, there is a story here that I want to talk about. This is Second Thought just released it. Second Thought just released it. Whenever you see a brown face speaking about something, do not racially profile them, because you would never ever profile a white person sitting here. And if they said they were from New Zealand, ask them if they were Scottish or fucking Welsh or whatever. You wouldn't do that, and you know it. That's your bigotry. That's your default. What you did there was default. That's not good enough, bro. Check yourself. Okay. Second Thought posted this. private equity is gambling with your 401k. Let's check this out.
I don't think I can ever retire.
There's no way anybody can live off this money for the retirement.
Seems so completely out of reach.
I don't think it's possible. That's never going to frickin' happen.
The talk of the town.
President Trump wants to chart a new path for Americans on the road to retirement.
Trump expected to sign an executive order today to allow private assets and crypto into 401ks.
Last year, DJ Tump, orange shoop but never fruity, always reppin' mighty, signed this executive order, opening up your 401k to private equity, private credit, and crypto. And now that
the difference between a white guy sitting here calling himself a New Zealander and a brown guy sitting here calling myself a New Zealander is that no matter how many generations my family or a brown person's family may have lived in this country, they will never be considered New Zealanders. Whereas a white person can say, oh, my family is 3 generations here, or I was born here, is enough for them to be a New Zealander. That's what mental models, that's what racial profiling looks like. So don't play that game. Don't play that game of, oh, so you're native there? You're born there? It doesn't matter to these fucking people. Because they saw a brown person, the brown person, you don't have a New Zealand accent. What the fuck? Who cares? What the hell is a New Zealand accent, dipshit? What do you mean it's very distinct? Do you have it? Oh, he means the white dialect. He means the white dialect, yeah. Fuck's sakes, man.
But it simmered in the background for a bit, this stew's ready. These last few months, the DOL has started creating a legal safety net for 401k and private asset managers to include riskier things in your retirement portfolio. What used to be legally dubious is now legally dope.
This is literally how white people have seen the... this is literally how white people have seen the world for so long. It is their profiling that matters the most of all. Fuck.
But what does that mean? For uptight ninnies, it means we're, quote, risking financial crisis like taxpayer bailouts, and the 401k scheme bodes to be the successor to the 2008 mortgage crisis. That's according to, let me see, Robert Morris, founder of U.S. private equity group Olympus Partners. I like to think it means that we're in a new era.
You didn't just ask me where I was from, Bo. You asked me where I was from, where I was originally from. You know what you meant. Buddy, don't try and run away from that.
A fun era. An era in which all sorts of cool stuff can happen, like grandma getting booted from the nursing home when Fartcoin takes a dip. I like that. I think that's good. And I'm not alone.
It's the alternatives era. We buy assets, then we make them better. It's the alternatives era. Build with Blackstone.
Good stuff. That was Blackstone. Thanks to these guys, your 401k can now be invested in what are called alternative assets. After years of lobbying and just a little bit of...
What is this? Second Thought's a great channel. You should go check it out. This is private equities gambling with your 401k. I thought this was kind of a great segue from war and how your money's being gambled with to sort of fund all of these different evil things that people do.
Of extortion, They and their private equity and crypto buddies have finally landed their white whale and weaseled their way into a new corner of this wild, semi-aquatic jungle that is the American economy. A little corner that just so happens to be worth an estimated $9 to $10 trillion, and that probably concerns you directly. Now, in case you don't know, 401ks are retirement accounts sponsored by your employer that let you invest part of your paycheck pre-tax so you can have a little nest egg before you croak. Around 90 million Americans already have one, and
I think that was satire. Biodegradable. I think that was satire.
Up until now, they mostly invested in decently safe, diversified portfolios of publicly traded bond, mutual, and index funds. Mainstream, low-risk, predictable return investing. Now, your 401k could be invested in things like corporate takeovers, real estate, and best of all, crypto. Stuff that actually gets the blood pumping. You could already gamble on all this stuff before, but let me tell you, nothing beats the gambler's high of putting your retirement money on the line knowing that's it. Social Security is only going to cover around 40% of your pre-retirement income on average, and we just keep living longer. Meaning, these days, even rich blood boy swapping millionaires are worried about running out before the finish line. There's just something electric about needing your 401k to work out or being stuck putting everything from your basic expenses to your soon-to-be exploding healthcare costs on a fund that they keep threatening to cut every year and isn't even big enough to start with. Sadly, it didn't used to be like this. It used to be that you had a pension and you got your benefits every month until you died and it wasn't a big deal. But we'll get to that in a second. First, why are they even messing with this? Why this new executive order? My favorite wokes, private equity CEOs, say it's economic justice and we're long overdue for this. The rich have always been able to throw money into alternatives. It's discrimination against us lowly poors to be refused their most refined gambling. Then again, nobody knows what any of this is, or what all this stuff means. No, really. These are two investment choices offered in one New York Times columnist's 401k now that alternatives are getting mixed in. And he straight up doesn't know what's going on. This guy was a counselor to the Treasury Secretary under Obama, and I know that doesn't mean a whole lot, but if he doesn't know what's happening, and he's not gonna pay some analyst at BlackRock to figure it out, what makes you think that you or your boss would? What?
So, think about 401ks. I mean, a lot of you will know it. I'll just do this for people who may not understand. Think about 401k as
new follower detected.
Thank you, Zen Plays. Thank you. Free Palestine. Absolutely. Welcome. Absolutely. Free Palestine all day, every goddamn day.
Globalized intifada.
So think about your 401k or your savings or whatever program you have in your country. Think about that as the state's debt to its people, right? The state has to pay it at some stage. So that money is going to be sitting. It doesn't even have to be real money sitting there. It's just debt, right? That at some stage the state has to pay. So it's value. It's value just sitting there. So what states do is like, okay, we have that value sitting there. Out of that, say 30% is to be paid out to people who will claim it in 30 years. Okay? And they'll go, okay, we can be a little bit more risky with that money because it's so far out in the future that we can use that money and either buy assets so that the value of that money keeps going up so the state can make money, income off that debt, or they can invest it in markets. They can even buy cryptocurrency with it. Right? Like, this is how the state is using your savings. Your savings isn't sitting there in a bank account waiting for it to be released when you are eligible for it. It's all speculative. And there is no guarantee that you will get it. But it is on the balance sheet of the state. So it exists somewhere. It can be invested in many different things so that there is another revenue stream for the state.
What makes you think that your grandma or grandpa would have any idea what to do with this? I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe you do. Maybe you know how to understand a mutual fund's public disclosure documents, daily price, and portfolio. All that information you need to be a prudent investor, and that thankfully, mutual funds are required by the SEC to disclose. That's not gonna matter anymore either. In part because of this executive order, your 401k is now increasingly likely to be invested in what are called CITs. These are kind of like mutual funds.
CBS is saying the United States and Israel are planning a wide-scale attack on energy facilities in Iran that may begin at the end of the week. And Iran threatens to bombard Israel if this attack takes place.
Funds, except, and I'm quoting Bloomberg here, hardly anyone can tell you a thing about them. No one knows exactly how much money they control, no one can say how it's all allocated, no single financial regulator is in charge of them. And thanks to the legal condom placed upon private equity's investing PP by the Trump administration, alternative asset managers may now transmit these CITs with impunity. But we probably don't need to worry. After all, this is an industry that prioritizes, quote, inordinate risk-taking strategy. I know.
Line goes up, everybody. Line is just going to keep going up, isn't it? Forever. Forever, ever. Forever, ever?
I feel safe and smart for picking the strategy with higher risks and lower returns than just putting my money in the S&P 500. Howdy, friends. I've got a big surprise for you today, and I think you're really going to like it. But this will be...
That is a horrendous haircut, by the way. Holy shit. Did he turn his curls into like some sort of... Oh my gosh. What the fuck is this a socialist haircut? Yeah, the mullet. It's not even business in the front. It's not even business in the front. It's just party everywhere. The mullet.
Be a slightly longer announcement, so as always, I want to make sure I respect your time. If you're not interested, you can skip ahead to this timestamp. You can always come back later if you want to. For those of you who stuck around, thank you so much. Now, time for the surprise. For the last several months, my wife and I have been working on building what we think is the first socialist mail club. It has been a way bigger undertaking than we expected. We had to get a domain, build a website, jump through a bunch of business and legal hoops, spend a bunch of time and money designing the vibe of the club. We needed to find socialist artists to collaborate with, and a whole lot of other stuff that you probably don't care about. But the end result is the number 3 post, a snail mail club designed to help build community and solidarity among regular people across the country and abroad. If you're not already familiar with them, snail mail clubs are really fun. My wife Kelsey introduced me to them a while back, and I loved the idea. Basically, you sign up and you get a themed letter every month along with some analog goodies like art prints, stickers, recipe cards, journal prompts, stuff like that. There are mail clubs for artists, for gardeners, for women in their 40s, pretty much every niche you can think of. But there wasn't anything for socialists. So Kelsey thought, why don't we do that? And I thought about it and I realized, yeah, that sounds amazing. I don't think I've ever gotten a letter in the mail that wasn't like a birthday card from my grandparents, and I'm sure a lot of you are the same. So what better way to help us feel more connected in the struggle than having something physical to open every month? Now, I've always been a sucker for anything analog, film, notebooks, stationery, basically anything that gets me off my phone and away from the internet. So I've had such a great time planning the first few months of dispatches, and I think you're really gonna like them. So let me give you a little teaser. Every month, each subscriber will get a letter hand-signed by yours truly on lovely, high-quality paper. This is 7 by 14 inches if you're wondering why it looks kind of weird. It is the perfect size to fold twice and fit inside an A7 envelope, and it gives me more room to write a bunch more text for each letter. So speaking of the envelope, each dispatch arrives in one of these lovely green envelopes sealed with our custom number 3 wax seals, also included in the first month's dispatch, but I can't show you here because I will spoil the surprise, are an art print, a sticker, and a hand-numbered Founders Club thank you card for signing up at the very beginning.
Imagine if this is like just him writing leading up to the revolution. It's like, okay, this is a recipe for how to make blah, blah, blah. This is planning the next socialist revolution. Oh,
contents will vary by month and theme, so sometimes you might get an art print, sometimes a word game, sometimes a sticker, a curated playlist, or any number of other things, but you will always get some combination of goodies. I also want the Snail Mail Club to be accessible to normal people who maybe aren't socialists yet. Now, I won't...
To normal people who maybe aren't socialists yet? What? Are socialists abnormal? What?
Pull any punches when I'm talking about capitalism, but I will have months where the message will be broader and less explicitly socialist. So if you have a friend who's on the fence, maybe getting a cool little care package every month might just be the thing to win them over. I also want to stress that we're trying to make this as collaborative as possible. I'm going to try to commission a...
Stardazer, real question. Are you high at the moment? Or is this just your natural state? Like, because you're just typing like the most doomer shit I've ever seen. Like, are you high? Just quick question before I make assumptions.
Socialist artist every month for either a sticker design or an art print or some other piece to be included in that month's dispatch. And I'll also include their social links so we can all follow and support each other. If you're an artist and you'd like to get involved, send me an email with examples of your work using the link in the description, and I'll get you added to the roster. If you want to see some more behind-the-scenes info on the technical aspects of the club, I've got a video on my personal channel that goes into more detail. To give us time to prep and pack all the envelopes, the cutoff to receive the very first dispatch this September is August 20th. So if you want to be a
The hair says it all. He's the abnormal one and doesn't just realize it. Oh my God.
Founder of the club, make sure to subscribe on our website, linked in the description, by the 20th. We are so excited to launch the number 3 post, and I hope you're excited to check it out. All right, back to the show. So, what is the point? I've rambled for a good minute now about how this change isn't going to get us a bigger retirement, it isn't a safer investment strategy, and it isn't making things more transparent. What possible reason would there be?
Oil tanker struck near Oman? Oh my gosh. What? Is it happening? Is it escalating? What is happening? Oh no. Oh no. Folks, what is going on?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
What is going on? Oh no. Wait. What was it? Where? An oil tanker has been struck in the Strait of Oman.
The leader of that team, Oxford University professor Andrew Poll.
Nothing here. Do we have any breaking news? I mean, this will be coming from a Telegram channel, I'm assuming. Asena.
For democratizing access to alternative assets. Well, there's the obvious answer. These guys lobbied so they can get more people through the door and charge them higher fees in what is a multi-trillion-dollar market. Ka-ching.
Missed an opportunity to say, oh man.
Then there's the sad answer. We are bailing them out. Ooh. Billionaires fucked up, and we are expected to save their asses.
Blue Owl experiencing elevated redemption requests for 2 of its private credit funds in the first quarter.
For months now, all these industries in the alternative asset market have been hurting. Private credit has been getting record redemption requests from their investors. Private equities returns are at a 16-year low. Crypto has been free-falling for a year. Rich people of all stripes are desperately trying to pull their money out of all these bad investments, and they're finding out that they can't. PE, PC, and C don't actually have the exit liquidity needed for that. All their investments are stuck in companies and assets that no one wants to buy amid reports of massive bubbles in the AI space and a generally stagnating economy. Private equity, private credit, crypto, their wealthy investors, they all need money, and they need it to come without any obligation to give new entrants a decent return. They need a whole bunch of retirees, and that's why we're being fleeced. So, what's going to happen is that once they get their hands on our savings and they've paid back their rich friends first, they're going to go right back to doing what private equity has always done. Buying companies and laying people off. Buying rural hospitals and shutting them down. Buying psychiatric hospitals and denying patients essential services. Buying commercial fishing operations and overworking staff. Running private prisons detaining people for ICE as well as airlines that deport immigrants on multi-day flights without food. And plenty more horrible stuff, I'm sure, from companies that recently dropped their climate pledges. These companies have, for years, done...
Oh, by the way, guess which company just dropped its climate pledge in 2025? Air New Zealand. Bro, oh my gosh. I am going through every little bit of these companies' stuff, man. Oh my gosh. They're all gonna, I'm gonna make everything available to everybody.
Horrible shit with rich people's money.
Big bro
now,
again, yeah.
This is what your retirement is gonna be funding. Though, in truth, it has been for a long time. Before 401ks even got into the alternative asset game, private equity's been playing with trillions of dollars of savings in things like pension funds. So, really, this is nothing new.
Russia's bombing
It's
Ukraine.
just worse.
Fuck, we're so fucked.
And again, it didn't used to be this way.
Oh.
Back when they first popped up, the first pension funds weren't chasing crazy returns. Many of them weren't even investing schemes at all. Just like Social Security, the first pensions were funded by having current workers paying for retirees with the expectation that the next generation was going to do the same. And when the first pensions started investing their money to get a little extra revenue stream for safety, it was incredibly limited to buying local, state, and federal bonds, i.e., making loans to the government. Very low risk with explicitly defined returns. 90% of public pensions were invested this way until World War II, and half of private pensions were too in the decade that followed, thanks to unions. This approach to retirement, 1, gave workers a lot of security, and 2, had the added benefit of creating a mutually beneficial relationship between workers and their governments. Buying bonds lets governments fund public services and infrastructure like schools and hospitals without raising taxes. So instead of retiring off the back of an immigrant being starved on a plane somewhere, you could retire in a community that you and your co-workers helped build. That all changed in the 70s because, just like today, Wall Street lobbied to get a cut of all this good money and changed the rules. Since then, pension funds have had to prioritize growth above anything else, and so they slowly gave up public bonds. Now, we're here. This is the hellscape capitalism has wrought. Either you don't have a 401k or a pension and you're looking at some lean years ahead trying to make do with Social Security, or you do have a 401k and now you're financing the very industries that are shutting down your hospital, rug pulling your cousin, and, I'm just finding this out now, bringing child labor back.
Oh my god.
I don't know how else to put this. These people are ghouls. There is just no winning without a socialist alternative to the scheme they've set up. We need an actual public safety net. We need to gut these parasitic companies out of existence. Because without working class people in power putting a stop to this, we just might not make it.
That was that video was Stargazer levels of optimism. Biodegradable, thank you. Russia is going after civilians in Ukraine, bro. It's fucking sick, bro. We've lost the world to like a handful of oligarchs, and here we are. Hey, Lindsay, welcome. We've lost the world to a handful of oligarchs. We are so fucked. Well, welcome, Lindsay, to that message. Welcome. All right, I have to. Thanks for being a real person. Oh, thank you, Jigglypuff. He puts it as if he lives in a different planet and it's not this problem. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have to get ready to go see Ginger, but I will be back live at around 8:30, 9ish. We'll definitely be following everything developing from Iran because I feel like shit's gonna hit the fan. I really hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't, but I think there is a moment coming now, because America's really feeling, I think, like it's got its back against the wall here. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. Yeah, we're gonna go see him today. He's got a few checkpoints to cross, but we're going with the whole family today. Failures love to fight. Yeah. How is Ginger? Yeah, Ginger's recovering well. I got a phone call from the doctor earlier today. He's doing well, but one thing he still needs to do is have a giant dump. He's eating on his own. His vital signs are looking really good. He's improving, but he needs to just shit. He needs to shit, and it needs to be large. So we're all waiting on the first dump. And hopefully, when we go visit him, he takes a dump, or he's taken a dump. I'm going to ring them now. But, yeah, I've never, ever been so anxious about a dump in my life, you know? Not a data dump. No dumps. Like, this is the dump. It's the dump. There is no dump more important than this one. So we're going to be seeing him. I really hope it's, he recovers. Like today and tomorrow are critical. Tomorrow is the big day. The 30K dump, yeah. I'm not worrying about the money, honestly, next to the moon. I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel on that one. I'm an atheist, by the way. But honestly, I feel all of your support. I know that when I'm going to go see him, like all your well wishes and all of your support, all of your prayers, I know all of those things are happening. That I just feel all of that. So thank you for your support through this. We are, I think, we are incredibly attached to our doggo. He is family. So what might seem as irrational to spend that much money to us is like, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out because we couldn't see a life without him. So thank you so much for your support and understanding, guys. I know I haven't been very consistent in terms of like how I'm streaming. It's been all over the show. It's a combination of a lack of sleep and anxiety and all different types of stuff. He's a very important part of our family. So yeah, I'm hoping he does really well. A family that dumps together stays together, absolutely. My clothes brush, kia ora. Thank you so much, folks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And yeah, I'll see you a bit later on. Hopefully the world hasn't completely just fallen apart. It won't. Whatever happens, we'll be here. We'll talk about it. We'll analyze it. We'll cover it honestly and, with integrity. So we'll get through it together. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Who can we raid? Oh, no. What? Twitch just crashed. Who should we raid? I don't know why Twitch crashed. I don't know. I think it's because YouTube is still going. Oh, is Neuro on? Okay, let's do Neuro. Done. Neuro it is. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Kakite, and I'll catch you soon. Please take care of yourselves. If only you can scare the dump out of dogs. Not sure if you but adding canned pumpkin help the poo. All right, yes. We'll sort it. We'll go catch up with him today. I'll ring them right after this and we'll see how it is. I'll provide an update on Discord, everybody. I'll provide an update about how he's going on Discord. Take care, everybody. Kakite. Okay, Raiders, I'm doing it. Done. And I will catch all of you soon. Take care, YouTube. Take care, Facebook. Take care, TikTok. Kakite, everybody. Not Pomaria yet, but kakite. See you soon. Free Palestine.